Springs, Arkansas. Tomorrow, the 89th Arkansas Derby. At this time of year, everyone loves a Cinderella story. Enter Colt Battle. The blue-collar colt just keeps winning. Trained by Lonnie Briley, the self-described little guy. Never thought he'd be here on this road to the Kentucky Derby. Too early to discuss the road to the Belmont Stakes because today we remember the 1980 Belmont winner Temperance Hill. And last year's winner is back. Mass Parade, ready to defend his Temperance Hill title. Hello to our viewers on Fox Sports 2. Live look, Oaklawn Park. Less than 28 hours to post for the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby. Good crowd on hand. Gonna be that much bigger tomorrow afternoon from the infield. Welcome, everyone. I'm Lafitte Pinkai. So much to look forward to this weekend, and we're going to do just that. Getting you ready for Oaklawn Signature Day of Thoroughbred Racing. Everything you need to know leading up to the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby. As for today's program, 5 races down, 6 to go. Included the featured event, race number 10, the Temperance Hill. Take a look at the field. 1.5 miles on dirt, of course, the Temperance Hill. Just like the Belmont Stakes, usually 1.5 miles. Big scratch. Number 10, Sir Graylin, the morning line favorite, is out. Number 4, Mass Parade. What will he do in his title defense? I welcome in my co-host, champion jockey, Richie Migliori. Richie, see, like this works. The Temperance Hill, right, who did his best work doing this, running 1.5 miles on dirt. Exactly what the horse is running in the Temperance Hill will be doing.
Yeah, I think they lined everything up. A horse that was good at 1.5 miles and certainly good in the Travers as well, going 1.25 miles. Eddie Maple is rider for Jada and Anthony. But you've got Masquerade coming back to defend his title. He's run twice at the 1.5 mile distance, but only once without a horse named Next in there.
Little different.
A little different.
Little different when you don't have to face the likes of Next. What a ride last year, Harry Hernandez, and staying inside in between horses here, going to work in a big upset, 19-1 in last year's Temperance Hill. So evaluating his form, where is Mass Parade now compared to where he was a season ago?
Well, I think he's coming into it well, and I think the fact that it's 1.5 miles, again, a horse that's shown that he's very proficient at that distance. And there's a lot of horses in this race that have ability, but they haven't ever run this far, and that's a big dividing line. I always said from 9 to 10 furlongs, right? The preps for the Kentucky Derby to the Kentucky Derby is a huge dividing line. 10 furlongs to 12 furlongs, that's huge.
Different animal altogether. It's all about stamina and endurance. The Temperance Hill race number 10 around 6:20 Eastern. Then the reason we're here this weekend, the America's Best Racing's race of the week, naturally, Grade 1. Arkansas Derby, $1.5 million purse, 3-year-olds, 1 1/8 miles. 200 Kentucky Derby points available, 100 to the winner. Number 9, Cornucopian, 1 race, 1 fast win. 7-5 morning line favorite as we welcome Maggie Wolfendale to the broadcast, hanging out with the Arkansas Derby favorite.
Cornucopian often refers to the overflowing abundance of something, and when it comes to the horse right here, he definitely has an abundance of talent, as was on display in his maiden-breaking debut, earning that 101 Beyer speed figure. But he does not have an abundance of experience. But his trainer, Bob Baffert, who is back on the Kentucky Derby trail, says that this guy is the real deal. And watching his workouts, he's actually been working with Barnes, another highly touted runner from the Baffert barn, working really well against him from my eye. But he's going to have to stretch out in only his second start. And as Bob has said, it really separates 1.5 miles, the cream of the crop, and he believes that he has the cream. He'll also be looking to buck history. It's been since 1883 since a horse has been able to win the Kentucky Derby in only their 3rd start. But if Cornucopian wins this Arkansas Derby, he might be well on his way. But for more on his main rival, we'll check in with Acacia Clement, who is at the Lonnie Briley barn.
I'm getting well acquainted with Cole Battle, who's riding a 4-race win streak into this year's Arkansas Derby. We saw him last winning the Rebel, able to run down Madaket Road, who set those early fractions. One of the only horses that day who actually made up significant ground. And I know you want to eat my dress. I can see it. He obviously has a lot of character, as well as we'll get a chance to learn throughout this weekend a little bit more about what kind of horse he is training. An incredibly intelligent horse, takes it all in the mornings. You keep your distance and be polite, sir. But he's one that does have a lot of ability out on the racetrack, already outrunning everybody's expectations. And we'll see if he can keep it going into this year's Arkansas Derby, pick up a Grade 1, and make it 5 in a row and on to that Kentucky Derby, Lafitte.
Great stuff, Acacia and Maggie. What an intriguing matchup, Richie and Cole battling Cornucopian and Bob Baffert, Lonnie Briley. So some real like David and Goliath vibes here.
Yeah, absolutely. Bob Baffert's been there, done that multiple times, an incredible record. And it's not uncharted territory for Bob Baffert to have such a lightly raced horse. He won the Grade 1 Santa Anita Derby with Taba coming off a 6-furlong maiden race. Listen, I think it's a tall order. We know that Cornucopian has incredible ability. But Cole Battle is battle-tested. He's got a lot of foundation. And if you watch his replays, you come away with the distinct impression that he does just what he has to do. He doesn't do more. Even when he works in the morning, he's always kind of looking around. He's checking things out. He's a horse that's very laid back. And talking with Lonnie Briley, he feels like if someone can make him run faster, he's capable of running faster.
You think there's more
faster. I think there's a lot more in the well.
That's a Cole Battle. And for Bob Baffert, he's back. Suspension over for the 5-time Kentucky Derby winner and well-armed talent and volume with his 3-year-old, all leading up to the run for the Roses. Meantime, today's race is brought to you by Claiborne Farm. 100 years doing the usual, unusually well. Race 6, Oaklawn, starts the cross-country pick 5 in like a couple of minutes. That's 6 at Oaklawn. Race 8, first of 2 stakes races, the La Patorelle. Aforementioned Temperance Hill, race 10. And in New York, races 7 and 8 from Aqueduct, Greg and Andy in studio. We'll say hello shortly. Meantime, haven't signed up just yet? What are you waiting for? Arkansas Derby tomorrow. Sign up today. Get involved. Play the action in our program and more while earning up to a $200 deposit match bonus. Sign up with the promo code MATCH200. Earn up to a $200 deposit match after your first deposit. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Join now, NarBets.com to earn your $200 deposit match. About that time. Cross country, pick 5. Yeah, get started just momentarily. The upcoming 6-race Oaklawn also included 7 and 8, 7th and 8th from Aqueduct, 7th and 8th also from Oaklawn Park. Get to the field for that 6th here. Rain on and off earlier today. The track listed as good. $12,500 maiden claimer, all non-winners, all for sale. 3/4 of a mile sprint. You're looking at the favorite, Chun Money, Richie.
Yeah, he's in with a 10th start, trying to get his maiden broken. He has speed, and I think that's very important in races like this. Horses at lower levels are more easily discouraged than horses that are running at a higher level. So when you have speed, you're the one doing the discouraging.
This good track, watching the first 5 races, have you noticed any tendencies one way or the other how this drying out track is playing?
It feels like a very fair racetrack right now. I've seen horses rally from off the pace, and I've seen horses lay up close. So I think we have a very fair racetrack at this.
5-2 on the favorite, Chun Money. Towards the inside, cutting class, leading rider Christian Torres. You don't get Torres on many 19-1 shots at Oaklawn these days, especially in some of the lower level claiming races.
But I will say this about Christian Torres. He rides. He's a guy who rides. It doesn't matter if he just got done riding the Arkansas Derby. He's going to ride the last race. Cody Autry, his agent, doing a terrific job for him, and now also has Francisco Arrieta, who has been on quite a tear as well.
Riding here for John Ortiz. Cutting class, if not the favorite, who else? Richie might step up, and do you see reason to believe that could be their graduation day this afternoon?
Well, I thought Skelly Road was interesting. His last race was abysmal. And I'm always willing to forgive a horse a bad race, just like I'm not going to coronate a horse a champion off of one really good race. And I just think he's taking the appropriate drop in class, and his previous 2 races, I think, would just drown this field.
Saying Cornucopian's not a champion?
Not
one
yet.
Race? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, man? Not a believer. Favorite for tomorrow's Arkansas Derby, a Cat Storm now the favorite. Le Peru, McPeak, looking for a second on the afternoon, teamed up in the opener for a victory. Unfortunately, they were to team in the feature in the Temperance Hill with the favorite, but a defection this afternoon. Race 6, live on Fox Sports 2, Oaklawn Park on the eve of the Arkansas Derby. Here's Matt Dinneman.
Two back, Kensington Cove to post 6. Into the outside post, Red River to round out the field. We're ready to go. And Laroff, an eventful beginning. Red River from the outside striding to a narrow lead on Chun Money, who takes the second position in the early stages. Red River clearing off, leads by a length from Chun Money and cutting class to the inside. A joint second now. Kensington Cove just had to take up off of heels. Miracle Mac passed him to be within 2 lengths of the lead. There's a gap of 3 to Kensington Cove. Guadalajara, Skelly Road in the mix. Cat Storm 4 deep as they charge into the turn. Pulaski right behind that quartet. Gap of 3 to Phenomenal Dream, Spin the Cat, and Sweet Devotion as they round the far turn. Red River, a narrow lead. Chun Money, the 6-5 favorite, looms large on the outside and takes a short lead on Red River. Miracle Max sent along to get after Chun Money. 3 wide as they approach the top of the lane. Cat Storm's getting into it now. Here comes Cat Storm going well. Gets to the outside for the 3/16 run as they come down the lane here. Chun Money accelerates and opens up 2. Cat Storm, the only one with a chance to beat him here. 2-horse battle. Chun Money finding more on the inside. Cat Storm outside attempting to reel him in. It's Chun Money under the left-handed stick in front from Cat Storm, who's still trying in second, but Chun Money's going to get it. Chun Money breaking the maiden today, defeating Cat Storm. Phenomenal Dream gets another minor slice today. He was 3rd. Miracle Mac was 4th.
Just kept digging, repelling the challenge from Cat Storm. Chun Money breaks through in his 10th career start. And wow, 6-5 at post time, 5-2 when he was loading into the gate.
It really worked out a beautiful trip. Red River is a horse that has just been, always shows immense speed and stops. So when he was able to set up shop off of him, and when he threw in the towel to assume command, that makes a horse confident. He blew up, and then he had plenty left to hold off Cat Storm, who came with his run and had every opportunity, just couldn't cut into the margin.
Was this just a matter of softer competition, or what was different today from his previous starts, his previous losses?
Well, I think he did find just the right group here, right? Dropping to the bottom maiden level that you can. He ran well for 30. 12-5 certainly helped a great deal.
Off and running in this cross-country pick 5, leg B, race 7 at Aqueduct, where we join Greg Wolf, Andy Serling in studio at the Big A. Guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We're getting ready for the 7th here in New York. Allowance optional claiming field here, 3-year-old fillies. They're going 7 furlongs, and there's obviously a big scratch in this race, but the one who's odds on the favorite right now, some big questions with that last performance.
I also want to say, when we have the 2 sets, if they're going to dress alike, they could at least have given us a head up, and we would have worn.
Yeah, we would have gone in our twins outfit.
I mean, we would have, because I'm a little jealous. I feel like we were a little left out of that. Yeah, Army Gal, obviously a big scratch coming out. Del Rey is one of those funny horses because she has 4 races from a Beyer speed figure standpoint that are average and wouldn't make her any kind of favorite here. And then she has her last race where she crushed a field. She beat a horse that came back and won quite easily, ran a similar type fig. And if she runs back to her 84 Beyer, and it's not all about speed figures, but speed figures are the single most important thing, how fast they are. If she runs back that race, she'll win. But the interesting thing is we're going now a couple of races back for her. And the last time she met the one Shady Side, the last time Shady Side has run, and Shady Side, the one who's probably one of the, right now, the biggest price on the board, beat her by a nose. So who is Del Rey, and who is the Del Rey that shows up today going to be? She runs her last race. She's going to win this race, and then they're going to be looking at a stake race.
There she is. Yeah, is she that filly who ran that huge improved effort last time out? If she is, seemingly no one else has a shot in this one. We'll see which version we get coming up of Del Rey from that outside post. We'll get to the post parade when we return. 7th from Aqueduct, approaching the 6-minute mark to post. Enhance your handicapping with AI Fast Facts, exclusively on Naira Bets. Open your Naira Bets app, click View Runner Details, and a stat-driven fact will appear for all U.S. thoroughbred racehorses. Download the Naira Bets app to start using Fast Facts today.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Thank you, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up. Now I'm hearing myself. Yep. Okay. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nope. Hearing myself.
Touched what? Straight sabotage.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No good. No good.
That's got to be the FanDuel piece. Fucking Scotty. No, he did. Son of a.
Gorgeous shot of Manhattan right there as we get set for the 7th here on our Friday card. Our program brought to you by Naira Bets, where you can play all the action we're bringing you on screen. Go to NairaBets.com and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. The 7th race, 7 furlongs for 3-year-old fillies. Here is Shady Side for John Kimmel.
Well, you're getting 8-1 now on a horse that beat the 3-5 shot the last time they raced together and in her last start. I don't particularly like her, but I think it's worth mentioning.
Broadway Lights, Rudy Rodriguez claiming off of Brad Cox.
I have a friend who likes this horse. I respect that. Claim by Rudy and LSU stable. I don't love claim from Brad Cox, but as races fast enough.
Big pedigree on Moonlit Drive, who won the debut at almost 17-1.
I'm going to give the last race, and I think at a price, this horse is very usable.
Fortuna Mia at 5-1, Lina Rice.
Obviously, her lack of speed's a problem. I think less distance in here and easier competition can get her the winner's circle.
It was on the Oaks Trail for quite a while. Here is Del Rey, odds on 3-5.
You know, this is a conversation that we have, you and I, in the show quite a bit, especially in the winter, the whole notion of one-number horses. You know, horses that have a race in their last race that towers over the field, but they never really run them before. Now, listen, with a lightly raced horse, this horse may just have turned the corner and might just be superior to this field, and you can't say you're surprised if she wins. But for me, as a bettor at this price, I'm going to let her prove it to me one more time, and I think you agree.
Yeah, I do. Download your free Equibase Past Performances. Get all the stats of the horses, trainers, jockeys. Go to Naira.com/TV schedule and follow along on the program. So let's check in downstairs. Paul LaDuca joining us now for the first time on our coverage. Del Rey, you believer in that last performance, Paul?
Well, it was a darn good effort, wasn't it? I mean, she got Lasix for the first time in her career, and maybe that propelled her to that effort. Now, I saw JT Service talking to Frankie Pennington in the paddock, the jockey, and he was basically saying, listen, I think we finally figured her out that she does not want to be in front. She needs a target. So she's hoping that target can be the 4 maybe. But see, I kind of with Andy, you know, with the one Shady Side, kind of already beat her in a way where she was in front of her that day or was behind her that day and ran her down. Does the 1 go to the front end? Does the 4 go to the front end? Because JT was basically telling Frankie, let somebody else go. And, you know, if you look at Del Rey, there's been a couple times where maybe she's gotten lost on the front end, and she did get beat by Shady Side, and she got beat by Conquer Those Who We Can. Now, Shady Side, the 1, gets the blinkers on. I thought made a great appearance and is warming up very aggressively for Kendrick Carmouche. So I think this horse will get pushed from the button, at least from the gate, and we'll see what happens. Although we've seen her win from off the pace, like we were saying. I think Andy's right. I think the 6-1 is a ridiculous price. Moonlit Drive, I thought made a good appearance for Michelle Nevin. She was saddling this horse who was 6-5 last time and just got a little bit tired, did not have the best beginnings, and it looks like they're resaddling one of the runners there behind the gate. You know what, Greg? I landed on the 5 for Fortuna Mia. I think getting Lasix, you know, Linda had another charge in here in Army Gal. I get it. She told Eric Cancel, listen, we're just going to fall out of the gate. We're going to be last. Let's just get her into stride and see what happens in deep stretch.
Yeah, a little adjustment right there with Fortuna Mia. Eric Cancel hops back aboard 9-2. On the 5.
Yeah, I mean, Kendrick has no other way to go but go to the front with Shady Side. And I'm sure he's going to go and be aggressive unless she doesn't break or something. Whether or not that affects the 6 is really random. I don't, you know, I just think it's really a question of what you think. It's not, there's always 2 questions. Do you think 4-5 is worth it? But a lot of people don't bet those short prices, but in those cases, maybe they pass the race. I don't want to try to beat her. I feel that way about Cornucopian tomorrow. He's going to be a short price. I think he's a bad gamble. I just don't really have a great idea in that race. And there's a lot of races to bet on if you don't want to bet on one race. But I still think he's probably a bad gamble. His likely odds is I think this horse is not a great gamble. I still am very afraid of this horse. I mean, if you're not afraid of this horse, I think you're crazy.
Yeah, you should be off that performance. But look, she did have 4 starts where she sort of showed us who she was a little bit. But sure, she could have jumped up and become this different filly. But she could certainly come back down to earth as well.
Right, they're lightly raced horses, and you know, to be fair, she had Lasix for the first time, and perhaps the Lasix was really helpful for her. There's a lot of different possibilities, and this is March of their 3-year-old year. They're just getting started. There are a lot of good horses that started their careers and they kind of suck the first few starts. Sometimes it takes a little while for the light to go off. Having said that, I have a thing for Fortuna Mia, and I've been wrong about her. I bet her than Demoiselle. That worked out well. She lost by 35 3/4 lengths. But I think she ran okay last time out, and I'm not sure she's not a closing type that's going to be better with a little less distance, and I'm hoping 7 furlongs sits between eyes. I don't love her, but I think at 5-1, I'm willing to take a chance and bet on her. She's got to get one more chance.
The 5 again, yeah. Fortuna Mia, Linda Rice, Eric Cancel. She will get Lasix for the first time in her career. She has been an attempted Demoiselle. Busher was, connections were going after that Kentucky Oaks trail. Finally, a little more realistic spot here after that has not panned out. And here is the interesting Shady Side, who owns a victory over the 4-5 favorite last time out. Blinkers go on, and that was back on January 1st. Maybe she takes a big jump forward too.
Right.
Here.
I mean, she's a huge price. I think it's important to note that before the 6's last race, she lost the 1, who's 6-1 today. It may turn out to be just irrelevant, but I think it's important to note.
Here's Broadway Lights, Katie Davis, Rudy Rodriguez claiming off one of the best barns in the game, Brad Cox. Not easy to do. We'll see what happens here with that filly. And then Moonlit Drive, the 4, the big pedigree, the mom by the moon, multiple graded stakes winner, yeah. Won the Ballerina, and then produced grade 3 winner of the Tom Full Moon Madness. She looked pretty good in the debut as well. Flopped in start number 2. That was a good stakes company.
And coming back on short rest too.
Chris Griffin with the call. Here's the 7th.
And they're off. Speed from Fortuna Mia right to the front, and Moonlit Drive is in the early mix too. Towards the inside is going to be Broadway Lights, and at the rail is Shady Side, who's now going to take back. It looks like a very moderate tempo early as Moonlit Drive is a neck in front. Fortuna Mia is a stalking second. Del Rey is out in the center of the racetrack, is right there in third. Broadway Lights is towards the inside in fourth, and Shady Side is the lone trailer. As they work up the backstretch, they're chasing Moonlit Drive, 23.48 for that opening quarter mile. Moonlit Drive, and Manny Franco in front. Fortuna Mia is right there, engaged from second. 3 wide is Del Rey off the base this afternoon. Tries to move forward now into the turn. Then comes Broadway Lights. Is at the rail, is shoved along to move forward. Shady Side is still the trailer. Well into the turn. Moonlit Drive with a head in front. Here comes the challenge from Fortuna Mia. Del Rey is trying to challenge the Ray, 46 and 4. Half-mile time. Shady Side is trying to launch a rally from the back there with Broadway Lights. They get set to reach the top of the stretch. Del Rey's barely been asked. Fortuna Mia fights on, and Del Rey very confident here from Frankie Pennington. Del Rey is now trying to open up. Fortuna Mia tries to come right back towards the inside, is doing just that with a furlong left to go. It's Del Rey who's got the advantage, is up by a neck. Fortuna Mia's game is chasing at the rail. Del Rey has the advantage. Del Rey, Fortuna Mia, not done yet. Del Rey, Fortuna Mia. Del Rey will get the victory over Fortuna Mia as a game second. Then came Broadway Lights and Moonlit Drive in 1 minute 25 seconds flat.
Del Rey digs in. Got a test here for Fortuna Mia, but now back-to-back wins.
She got the job done. She got the right trip, but the 5 had a good trip too, and she proved very marginally best. It's one of these things for me as a gambler, is it's very frustrating. You bet a horse like the 5. She had no excuse. She was second best. She had every chance to win, but she's 5-1, and the winner's 4-5. And there's no question, if you bet horses like the 5 on a daily basis, you'll make money in this game. But today, she just came up a little bit short the 4-5 shot. No excuse, but she ran well enough to win here. The 6 was just a little tiny bit better.
So yeah, 4-5 in the end here. Frankie Pennington aboard for the win. Gets by Fortuna Mia, runs big in defeat. And that one broke very sharp early. And able to hang in there to the bitter end. 6-5-3 for Del Rey. Back-to-back victories here. Frankie Pennington on board for the win. The odds-on favor. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, owner Ted Bowman forged a great relationship, nearly 2 decades strong, with Ron Moquette. They're hoping for big things for Speed King in Saturday's Arkansas Derby. We'll have more on that duo and their superstar horse when we come back.
And they're off at the Naira Benz Haskell.
In the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga.
Dornock setting up moderate pace, 3/4 of a length ahead.
And the field turns for home.
They're at it again. The 2 Belmont first and second place finishers.
Mind frame on the outside. It's coming after Dornock.
Dornock wins the Haskell.
It will be Dornock to win the Belmont Stake.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime, with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
Elite Power gets up to win the sprint. To the inside, here comes CZ Rocket up the rail, Jackie's Warrior. Elite Power on the far outside, and Elite Power gets up to win the sprint. CZ Rocket was second, Jackie's Warrior settles for third today.
The power of Juddmonte.
Back at our Friday coverage here on Fox Sports 2. Good to have you with us. Program brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. And we just saw Del Rey. They're in the 7th at Aqueduct. Put in a big performance, getting past Fortuna Mia. Now back-to-back victories. 3 wins from 6 starts overall for this 3-year-old filly by Munnings.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how fast this race comes back. I'll look at the figures tonight, because they did put an enormous amount of distance between themselves and the others. So it does feel like the 6, ran very well, and the 5 ran a big race. She just wasn't quite good enough to beat this horse. It's the way it goes sometimes in the game, but I don't know that she ran an 80-something by her, but she probably ran a pretty realistic. Maybe beat the 6 by, 6, 7 lengths here? And the 6 is capable of running 6 lengths?
The 3, you mean?
The 3, I'm sorry. They're capable of running a figure. And so this is probably a very strong race for these horses.
6-5-3 finish. Del Rey, they've figured things out, certainly last couple of starts with this 3-year-old filly. Good for these connections. We take a look at the cross country. Pick 5 follow along. Began with Chun Money. Now Del Rey, incredibly formful to this point, but we got 3 races left, so a long way to go. And the next part of the sequence coming up from Oaklawn that appears to be a wide open group in the 7th.
I think it's a good guess. Most time at Oaklawn, the races are wide open. Though the 12 scratched, I had the 5, 8, and 9 open.
Favorite is the 9 right now. Modest one at 4-1. Let's go back to Hot Springs.
Greg, thanks so much. Live look in the paddock for the 7th race. $32,000 claimers, non-winners to lifetime mile and a 16th. You were looking at Big Gain. There's Parkway. Claim from David Jacobson by Ingrid Mason. Richie, who'd you come up with here?
Well, I actually thought Parkway had a look here at a price stretching back out with all that good Claiborne Farm pedigree. There's a lot of stamina base in that pedigree. I actually thought the, I'm trying to get here. Stellar Vino, the 9, really made a lot of sense to me and is your lukewarm favorite at the moment.
7-2. They mentioned it was a wide open race. Handicappers handling it like just that, wide open. 7-2 favorite. As for trainer Steve Asmussen, who holds just about every record, Richie, there is to hold at Oaklawn Park, working on another trainer title. But Ron Moquett, with his 27 victories, not far behind.
Ron having a tremendous meeting, and if his horses are not winning Lafitte, they're running well. And, I always think about trainers. They work with the horse, they prepare him, they spend hours and hours with them. And then they got to turn the keys to the car over to the jockey and hope they get the trips they want. But his horses have been running extremely well all meet.
Speed King tomorrow, the Southwest Stakes winner in the Arkansas Derby. Those rating tactics did not yield the desired results in the Rebel Stakes. Expecting to see a more, this is a question for Ron Moquett, but as an observer, expecting to see a more aggressive ride early on from Speed King.
Yeah, listen, they experimented a lot in his morning training with him raiding off of horses and finishing. It's a controlled environment, and usually with just 1 or 2 other horses. It's completely different in the afternoon when you've got a full field, and other riders aren't working with you. Yeah. They're working against you. He'll be forward, but with Cornucopian, I think we'll know who's going to be on the lead.
Great shot. These horses parading out in front of a good crowd here on the eve of the Arkansas Derby. What's it like in the jocks room? What's the difference on the day before the day, Richie?
You feel the anticipation, the excitement. This is a pretty low-key room. Along very well together, and that's not always the case. Some rooms, it's oil and water.
As you've mentioned time and time again, that they seem to take care of one another out on the track.
Quite a bit more, but I think that's the way the stewards have kind of adjudicated things here. Take care of each other going into turns. It's the most dangerous part of the race, and also jockeying for position, and you don't have the right to take somebody else's ground. The stewards allow them a little more leeway in the straightaways, drifting and race riding a bit, but going into turns, they're much stricter.
Post-parade race 7. Another look at Parkway and Ramon Vasquez. Vasquez already with 1 win today.
And Parkway gets that good inside draw, like inside posts.
Gatlinburg, 5-year-old debut.
With Tyler Bacon, who is going to lose his apprentice allowance today.
Tornado Road, Virginia Derby winning team, Lucas and Juarez.
Yeah, this is a horse that used to show speed, and with the last couple starts has lost that speed.
Freddie Mac, class drop.
Your class drop, is that going to be the key? Ran well 2 back for $32,000.
Big gain, big meet, Francisco Arrieta.
I've really been impressed with Francisco Arrieta. Puts his horses in the right places.
Luke Stunn, claim from Steve Asmussen by Greg Compton.
Horse that has races in his form that would be competitive. This is a big step up.
Rivtage, his 1 win from far back in the slot. Track is good.
Man, look at the way this horse looks. All of Steve Asmussen's horses so well turned out.
Rivalry, lukewarm favorite, 5th start of the meet.
Ron Marquette should be forward. I think he's part of the pace.
Contenders side by side by side. There's another, Stellar Vino, now the tepid favorite.
I think he's just going to get a really good stalking trip here under your leading rider, Christian Torres.
Patera, go get him, Tom Amos.
Yeah, comes back to the dirt. He's run well on dirt previous. Kind of middle moved last time on the turf.
Charbonne controlled the tempo in his latest.
Yeah, I don't see him making the lead from that post. He's going to have to be aggressively handled, though, to avoid being caught wide.
Ultimate Strike is out. Sound of Victory draws in and is parked outside for his trouble.
Really tough posts. It's going to be interesting to see Keith Asmussen, how he handles it and what kind of position he can get. Keith, by the way, riding extremely well. The ride he delivered for his father in the Essex Handicap, as good a ride as you're going to see.
Love it when a plan comes together from Sound of Victory. So the horse on your screen, number 7, Rivtage, both trained by Steve Asmussen, standing by live with Maggie.
That's right, Lafitte. While he sends out 2 in this spot here, I think a congratulations is in order for last week's win in the Louisiana Derby with Tistastic. But I've got to ask you about the here and now with Publisher tomorrow in the Arkansas Derby. It feels like Tistastic's win kind of complementing those horses coming out of the Southwest, and Rebel. He's had trouble, though, in both.
Well, absolutely. I think we feel it. You know, the confidence the horse has shown, the company that he's kept. He's had very good preparations leading into the Arkansas Derby. Obviously, we have a chance of off racetrack tomorrow, and I think that's something that he handles well.
Is there anything that you can change with this horse to avoid that trouble that he's encountered down the stretch?
Well, we did stick the blinkers on him. We think he's letting it happen to him a bit. You know, I really appreciate the drone shot that they show here. And it looked like Flavian had enough horse to get up in there, but the horse, he kind of, when they got tight, it looked like he let himself stay there for the contact. I think with the addition of blinkers, I really like how he's been a little sharper training, a little more forward, and he'll need to be.
Good. And also want to ask you about the maiden coming up in today's 9th Lambeau. He was a little bit aggressive, a little headstrong going around 2 turns last time. What's the game plan with him? I thought he was pretty game, though, down the stretch to hang in as well as he did.
Absolutely. He's a nice horse, talented, out of excuses. You know, solid first run going 3/4. Think that he's meant to go 2 turns. Plenty of pace on that day, but no excuses today. I think he needs to be away from there cleanly, not fight with him, and let him run.
As always, thank you so much for your insight and best of luck.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, Steve Asmussen, guys.
No excuses. That's later in the 9th. Tomorrow in the Arkansas Derby, Publisher, Richie, legitimate excuses in his last 2 races, and a maiden you've been a supporter of for a while.
I actually liked him when he was 50-1 in the Southwest, and he
got sawed off.
Oh, he clipped heels, just a nightmare of a trip. And then a tough trip last time, but a horse with a lot of ability. And one of the things that's been a great pleasure for me, Steve Lafitte, being here, is visiting with trainers like Steve Asmussen. I was with him for about 2 hours the other morning while he trained, and I like being with the horse people and watching these horses train. It's just such a pleasure for me, but it also helps with my work as well.
Have to appreciate that kind of accessibility. Acacia never has excuses. Trackside. Acacia, what are you seeing as we get closer to post time?
I certainly try, Lafitte, but I think the board really kind of reflects this race in that you have that tepid 3-1 favorite right now, and it is a pretty wide open race. And as far as that 9 Stellar Vino is concerned, has a great name. This is a horse who does get a little bit of a drop in class, running against $50,000 types the last time out, so a little bit softer company in here. And a horse that I thought had a pretty good stalking trip that day, but his rider had a strong hold on him throughout, made a move, and then flattened out. Looking at him, and obviously this is a horse I'm not familiar with, he is so laid back. He is not one that would grab your attention in the preliminaries. Kind of smaller, stout, very quiet, warmed up with the pony, but clearly once they open the gate, if his replays are any indication, there's a lot more fire once the race actually begins. So I think getting him into a good rhythm is very important. Now looking at a couple of others, the number 8 Rivalry for Ron Marquette, as Richie touched on with Steve Asmussen's barn, Ron's is the the same. They all look well turned out, always beautifully brought over to the races, and this one no exception. Certainly, you'd have to imagine he should take a step forward second off of that nearly year layoff, and he does have speed. I also noticed watching his last race that he was acting up in the gate before they even opened it and drifted significantly off the first turn. You could really see Ricardo Santana, who was riding him that day, fanning him with the riding crop. He's outfitted today with the Houghton or cage bit, that straight bar with a bar underneath the chin as well. Very useful for horses that have the tendency to drift. Don't know if that's a change today, but it is certainly a piece of equipment that will help with one who clearly has a little bit of trouble keeping a straight course. The One Parkway, first off the claim for Ingrid Mason. I know it's not easy to claim off of David Jacobson. However, this horse wants no part of going 6 furlongs. He's massive, and especially being drawn to the inside, he has some tactical speed. He has a lovely pedigree by Lull, who was a multiple graded stakes winner though on the turf, and she's been a decent producer, including Time Out, who Bill Mott trained, won at 9 furlongs on the dirt. So pedigree is there to suggest that longer is better, and I have always thought that about this horse. I love him getting more distance. I thought he made a lovely impression in the preliminaries here. Did get a touch warm out on the track, but one that I think will find himself in the right spot, especially if he can get that stalking trip. Finally, the 7 Rivetage for Steve Asmussen here, as we heard him talking to Maggie, plenty of chances in a variety of race levels over the next couple of days. This is a horse that I thought, looking at his race 2 starts back, I think a little bit more indicative of his talent, because he was the one who kind of made that first move and then ended up getting caught. Last time, I think just further back than he would prefer, and should appreciate getting back onto a drier track today, Lafitte.
Rivetage, Eric Asmussen. Fans here at Oaklawn Park, 60,000 anticipated for Arkansas Derby Saturday. The energy for Oaklawn's marquee event here tomorrow afternoon, and this is the one you circle on the calendar when the meet gets going all the way back in December.
Yeah, absolutely. And just always an enthusiastic crowd here. It feels so much like Saratoga to me. This is truly the Saratoga of the South.
And that much better of a final dress rehearsal for Kentucky Derby prospects as far as atmosphere.
Oh, absolutely, and especially saddling in the infield, being out, much more like the Kentucky Derby vibe.
Can't wait. Tomorrow evening on Fox Sports 1, the 89th running of the Arkansas Derby. Post time for the 7th. Matt Dinnerman standing by a leg C of this cross-country Big 5.
Second to last into the outside, Sound of Victory. Kicking off the late Pick 5 here. Good luck. We're ready to go. And they're off. Good start from Rivalry, who's sent for speed from the onset. Gatlinburg has speed as well. Big Gain is between horses. They approach the first turn run. Gatlinburg and Rivalry kick on together. Big Gain right behind them, easing off the Speedies third as they go into the first turn run. Gatlinburg is on a hold now, and Rivalry strides to a head lead. Gatlinburg not letting him get away. Now he's going to take back as Rivalry takes command now. So they approach the backstretch run. Rivalry doing the honors here. He's going to stride clear a length and a half from Gatlinburg, who runs in second. Stellar Vino tucked outside of him. There's a gap of 2 to Bet Terra. Big Gain to the inside. Another 2 to Parkway and Tornado Road. They run as a pair. 4 back to Rivetage. Freddie Mac already sent along. Gluckstadt joins him. Sound of Victory towards the back of the field. And Charbonne is the trailer as they approach the half-mile pole. It's still Rivalry on the lead here. 3/4 of a length ahead. Stellar Vino comes out of the pack, and he's up to pressure. Rivalry going into the far turn run. Gap of 3 to Bet Terra. Sent along from that third position. Gatlinburg losing 4th and under pressure here. Big Gain also under a ride. Parkway being asked to pick it up, and the others have got to pick it up as they round the far turn. Rivalry, Stellar Vino, they're now even coming to the top of the stretch. Bet Terra is pumped upon 3 wide. He's kicking it in gear now, and these 3 have opened up on the rest. Top of the lane. Rivalry needs to find more here. Stellar Vino between horses with a head in front. Bet Terra on the outside, grinding away. These 2 are together. Freddie Mac's coming on, and now the top 3 that separated themselves early. They don't have much finish here. Freddie Mac, grandstand side, is passing Stellar Vino. He's up to challenge Bet Terra. It is Freddie Mac and Rocco Bowen to the front. Freddie Mac at 7-1 scores. Bet Terra second. Gatlinburg Park rallies for third. Stellar Vino is fourth.
Rocco Bowen unleashing Freddie Mac. Softer company today. Solid late maneuver, accelerating in the center of your screen and striking at 7-1.
Yeah, just a really well-judged, patient ride from Rocco Bowen, produced Freddie Mac, and got it done, dropping back down to that $32,000 level where he ran so well two back. Keep an eye on the two, Gatlinburg, who was kind of searching for room mid-stretch, never had to hit the brakes, tap on the brakes, but was never quite comfortable till he got in the clear, and then he finished resolutely to be third. But nice trip, nice ride for Freddie Mac with Rocco Bowen.
Batera, Rafael Bejarano, good trip, good effort, but no response for Freddie Mac when he came to his outside flank.
No, it just seemed like the runs were coming in waves, right? You had the 9-horse Stellar Vino make the first run, then the 10, Batera made his run, and then here came with the perfectly timed ride, Freddie Mac.
4:10.29, 7-1 as we make our way through the sequence in the cross-country Pick 5. Freddie Mac, second lifetime win by Derby runner-up Hard Spun, takes down the 7th on this eve of the 89th Arkansas Derby. We'll be right back.
Watchtower coming at Maduro. Maduro, Watchtower. Watchtower got her.
DeMarchelier, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back in our Friday coverage on Fox Sports 2 as we get set for this nightcap on the Aqueduct card. 1 turn mile, New York breds, $30,000 maiden claiming race, and a big favorite who's not as heavy a favorite as we expected. That should change as we get closer to post time. We'll see Run-A-More in a moment. We start with Gorzo, who definitely has upside. Second-time starter for David Duggan.
I agree, and if she goes up to a slightly more palatable price in this race, he does, I think he's playable, a horse that could improve off the trainer change.
Favorite next door was 4-5 Morning Line. Crossed the wire first last time out, got DQ'd.
Yeah, maybe people are tired of the heavy favorites losing, but The idea of this horse right now is the same price as the 9 is lunacy. You want to take a shot against him, not at this price.
Classic Martini, blinkers on.
My guess is that you'll want a Martini after the race if you bet him.
Uncle Barry, 5 starts, has never hit the board.
No, going to have to improve a lot. Drops a little bit.
Blinkers on. Could that possibly help Danziger?
I think you've had too many Martinis if you like Danziger in this race.
Done nothing to give you any form of confidence. Katie Davis will ride here for Dominic Schettino. Salamini's legacy, for Jimmy Ferraro.
A little interesting off a bit of a trip last time out.
Mark Hennig, at least there's a drop in class with the 7 Ragtime Prankster.
Yeah, the 7 and 1 were my 2 backups, the 2 in this race. I like the drop.
Damage. 3rd, beat less than 2 lengths for Maiden 20 last start.
And part of a heavily favored entry, but not the one they were really betting. Did actually run the best race probably ever run.
And Captain Jack's Perro, Mike Maker Barn with Manny Franco.
Yeah, I don't like this horse at all. I think the last race, the figure's a little bit questionable, and I think this horse is the reason. I think the reason to bet this race is to bet against this horse. The 2 is the horse to beat, but the 1 and 7 are the interesting horses. To me, I don't like this horse at all.
And our money finally starting to come in on the 2 Run-O-More. The 2, the favorite for Lena Rice here in this nightcap. 4 minutes to post. We'll have it for you live when we come back.
Charge It is pouring it on, winning the Dwyer by the length of the stretch. Charge It wins it convincingly in this Grade 2 Suburban.
Enhance your handicapping with AI Fastbacks, exclusively on NyraBets. Open your NyraBets app, click View Runner Details, and a stat-driven fact will appear for all U.S. thoroughbred racehorses. Download the NyraBets app to start using Fastbacks today.
General admission tickets are on sale now for the Belmont Stakes on June 7th at Saratoga Racecourse. Don't miss your chance to witness the historical 3rd leg of the Triple Crown. Get your tickets today by visiting belmontstakes.com/tickets.
Jackie's Warrior quickly in front here by 2 lengths. Here comes Jackie's Warrior up the inside to take over the lead from Life is Good. Jackie's Warrior remains undefeated here at Saratoga, and he wins an unprecedented Grade 1 stakes at the Spa for the 3rd straight season.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Nightcap coming up here at Aqueduct. Plenty more ahead at Oaklawn Park from Mountain Hot Springs. This is the one to beat and now has become odds on. We expected this from Run-O-More. It was 4-5 morning line, and this was the performance where it looked like he had broke his maiden and he was going to move on to bigger and better things, but gets DQ'd and plays second.
Yeah, and a legitimate DQ. Did commit a foul on the other horse. The other horse actually came back and sort of legitimized the figure. It's a little bit hard to believe. I mean, it's a horse that she'd run a 54 buyer and a 27 buyer, and then she ran a 72. On the other hand, if you get rid of the second race, she was a big drop down. It's not that shocking. He's just way the horse to beat in here. I'm not gonna, send it in on horses in lower level maiden race claiming races, but based on this race, he's an overlay at even money.
Linda Rice, Jose Lezcano, and very short price. Both Andy and Paul not trying to beat this one, and right now, Paul, neither is the public.
No, and Andy's right. I mean, by the end of the day, when they spring the latch, this horse is going to be 3-5, maybe even click down to 2-5. I mean, because when you look at the opening race by this gelding, it's better than anybody else's race. And then when he got DQ'd, it just towers over this field. So, yeah, even money, I would take that right now if we could book it. Now, some of the other horses in here, the one I thought made a good appearance. Now, I got to talk to David Duggan a little bit. He said, listen, I've only had this horse for about a month and a half, but has been training really well with the blinkers, and now will get Lasix, and was bet 5-1 in a 9-horse field first time out. David, very, very good conditioner. He's 20% with putting blinkers on. And if I was going to look for any other horses in here, I'm kind of with Andy. I'm against the 9 in here. The 7, obviously, on the drop. I thought the 8 Damage looked very, very well if I was going to have a paddock pick. I'd even go 2-1 or 2-8 in here. I just think the 8, if you throw out the 1 race on the rail, Greg, 3 starts ago, where he hit the gate and we're having another saddle adjustment, looks like on the 3 there. This TriStar Farm horse Damage is at least improving. So, a 10-1, you can get worse, but I just don't see you can get around the 2. So I'll go 2-1 or 2-8 in here.
Damage the 8 for Mike Maselli. That one at double-digit odds at 10-1 in here. We'll see. That one part of that heavily favored entry last start when he was third, beat less than 2 lengths for maiden 20.
Yeah, but I believe they were betting the other half of the entry, not that. Listen, I'm very clear. And listen, Damage is a horse that on the last race is a fringe player in this race. To me, and I may turn out to be wrong, I think the race centers around betting against the 9 and keying the 2, and I did with the 1 and 7. It's as simple as that. I'm going to try to get them in the exacta with the 2. That's it.
And even you said this to me earlier off air, even if Run a Morse, not that horse we saw last time out with that big number that for this level that he ran, if he comes back to earth from the debut,
I think
it's still going to be hard to beat him, isn't it?
He runs the 54 buyer, he ran his debut, he will probably win this race. If he regresses 10 points from his last race, he will probably win this race. He's not the kind of horse I'm dying to bet against. Like I said, I don't have a problem with trying to make cases against horses like this. And he is a bit of a 1-number horse, but he's not solely a 1-number horse because his first race is faster than these as well.
We talked about this card before we came on the air. We did Talking Horses together, and it looked like a kind of day where Lena Rice could just absolutely dominate this entire card from the get-go. Hasn't really worked out like that. See if she can close things out.
Second win, I think, and she looked like she could win 4 or 5. I only wanted one of them, the last race.
Run a More for the Rice Barn. First start back since that January 26th disqualification. The one to beat here in this nightcap. Let's go to Chris Griffin.
Captain Jack Sparrow to the outside. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Breaking well from in between horses, Solomini's Legacy. Also right there towards the outside is Ragtime Prankster in the early mix. Towards the inside is going to be Run a More, and Run a More is trying to challenge for that early supremacy with Gorzo at the rail holding that position, lined up across the racetrack, and Captain Jack Sparrow is going to tuck right in behind this leading group as they come out of the chute, switches over, and is right in behind this leading quartet. The leader is Run a More, but has pressure to the inside from Gorzo. To the outside here is Ragtime Prankster. Also taking back with Solomini's Legacy is now back to 5th. Is Captain Jack Sparrow is a touch keen and is moving forward. It's a gap of about 6 lengths. Back to Damage, who's in the red cap, is also in front of Danziger with Uncle Barry, and far, far back, Classic Martini is the trailer. 23 seconds flat for the opening quarter mile. Run a More is in front, and Run a More has a half mile left to go and is up by 3/4 of a length. Here's the challenge from Ragtime Prankster and Captain Jack Sparrow, who's been on the muscle, went 46.43 for a half mile time, and Captain Jack Sparrow is ready to challenge Run a More as the front 2 start to get away. Trying to hang on is Gorzo, who's back to 4th with Ragtime Prankster. Damage is starting to rally from the back with Solomini's Legacy. The rest with a lot to do. Captain Jack Sparrow is ready to challenge. They brush shoulders here as they reach the top of the stretch. Captain Jack Sparrow to the outside of the green cap, and towards the inside is Run a More, who's game, and Run a More is back in front. A final furlong left to get. Run a More, Captain Jack Sparrow. Damage is making up some mile ground from the back and is starting to pick up rivals inside the final furlong. Run a More has dispatched of Captain Jack Sparrow, but here comes Damage on the outside. It's Run a More looking for the line. Damage catching with every single stride. Here comes the wire. It's a photo finish. Run a More to the inside and Damage to the outside. Late run there. Gorzo came back to get 3rd. Final running time, 1:41.21 seconds.
Damage rolling from off the pace, gaining with every single step late. Let's take one more look at the wire. Does he get that nose down?
Yes,
he does.
Wow. Linda Rice, you looked at this card and said, I don't think I'm going to have a better chance to have a big winning day as this. And they all lost. The first, the second, this one. I mean, obviously, this horse ran very well and too well to lose the 2. But you know what? The 8 was the one that waited. The 1 and 7 were over aggressively ridden, both of them going after the 2. The 9s had a perfect trip behind them. The 9 was terrible. Not only, forget about not winning, in actually, the 9 did hold on to beat the 7 by a half a nose, to hold on for 4th in the Superfecta. But sometimes the dynamics just work against you. And this was a very fast pace, 23.14, 46.43, and it just took too much of a toll. And Runnamore ran a winning race here, but the 8 was there to pick up the pieces and get the job done under Kai Barkoa, and a nice win for Mike Vaselli.
8-2-1-9.
The pick 5 get hit?
4, it did. 4 odds-on favorites, even money or odds-on, beat but from the Linda Rice barn today.
Tough day, tough game.
Carry over in the pick 6. 27,000 plus in the pick 5. Speed King. Usually on the front end, that was not the case last start for the first time in his career. Can he use that speed again to his advantage on Saturday?
Hall of Fame trainer Steve Asmussen said, Gun Pilot is an absolute beast. He has a lot of gun runners' great traits. He is a bigger and stronger version and was extremely talented. His easy Grade 1 win in the 7-furlong Churchill Downs Stakes proved everything I knew.
The gold, but it's Gun Pilot. Gun Pilot and Christian Torres.
Gun Pilot is Gun Runner's only son to retire to stud this year. New to 3 Chimneys.
Great to have you with us on Fox Sports 2 Live Look, Oaklawn Park. Gearing up for the first of 2 stakes races. As always, coverage brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Visit nairabets.com or download the Naira Bets app to get started. Play this Lapa Terrell Overnight Stakes race on your Naira Bets account after you hear Maggie's Paddock Report. Get that inside info. Maggie.
A little bit of a special paddock report here as I'm aboard Boomer. We're going to hit the track in a moment with the stakes race, but let's check in with your favorite. That is number 4 in Just My Heels. I've never seen this 4-year-old filly look better, and last time I thought she was up against it. She was wide and out the back, and she did make up more ground than any in that Trevista last time out. Now, let's talk about the maybe up-and-coming horse. That is number 3, Miss Hebrides. Last time Ken McPeak shared with me after she won that she was a bad bleeder, hence the late start, not beginning her career until late in her 3-year-old season. So now, for the first time, she's gonna have to run without Lasix. Observations here on race day, a little bit more subdued, a lot more calm than what I've seen from her in the past. Physically, she looks tremendous, Lafitte, though we'll see if the absence of Lasix has any ill effects today.
Significant. And what an impact that can have on a thoroughbred, whether it's on or off Lasix. Miss Hebrides making her stakes debut.
Well, and the fact that she has that history, you know, the proclivity to bleed, and Lasix aids that a great deal. So it'll be interesting to see how she handles the intensity and the pressure of racing without it.
Sharp mare, having won 2 of 3. Got another look at her in the post parade for this Lapa Terrell overnight stakes. Mile and a 16th, fillies and mares. 9-5 on In Just My Heels. Yeah, we'll revisit her last race, where that was just too much of a challenge for any racehorse to overcome what she had to deal with right from the start.
Yeah, she just lost all position. And one thing that's critical is that she's more of a closing type, although she can lay up. You don't want to give a horse too much to do or get caught behind horses you have more natural ability than.
Later on, the Temperance Hill. Here, the Lapa Terrell. $145,000 purse. Who'd you wind up with?
Well, you know, Maggie actually really opened my eyes to Miss Hebrides and what she has to contend with.
You'll see here in a moment. There's Bestseller, currently 10-1, leading rider Christian Torres, followed by Miss Hebrides, 9-5 co-favorite.
In great form. Now she has to show that she can be as effective without Lasix.
Maggie said she seemed a little bit more laid back. The absence of Lasix, competing in a stakes race for a first time. Julien Leperoux, Kenny McPeak struck in the first, trying for a second win together on the afternoon. And then the aforementioned In Just My Heels, hoping for a much better trip today.
Yeah, she just was really up against it after not breaking particularly well. Found herself in an unenviable position.
Tripolina, Tyler Bacon, what a meet.
Had a terrific meet. This is his last day with the bug. Tripolina been very good closing, sprinting. Does it translate going?
Not easy to spot, or not difficult to spot, Rose Palace on the track.
No, and adds pace to this race, which I feel like has ample pace signed on.
Speaking of which, Mercy Warren representing Outside Speed.
Yep, more speed signed on. And Brian Hernandez, last year's Kentucky Derby winning and Oaks winning rider.
Beau Draw, Rocco Bowen, looking to go back-to-back.
Yeah, good rider. This one would be a surprise. She's going to have to step up with an effort that we haven't seen in quite a while.
That's the field. For the first of 2 stakes races on this eve of the Arkansas Derby, the Lapa Terrell overnight stakes. Great shot from the infield, good crowd. And In Just My Heels. This is what we're talking about. Her latest, the Trivista. Late February, bad post. She was wide early. She was far back. She was wide late. Just too much to ask of her.
No, you know, especially when you get out of position, you've got to deal with more kickback. You've got to, you know, find your way through a field. She has the ability to close. She has the ability to lay up. You just don't want to be shuffled back early.
This 2 starts back. Her most recent is where she had to deal with more challenges. Prior, though, the 2 straight wins very sharp. So with a cleaner trip today, understandable why she is the 9-5 favorite here and trained by Ron Moquette. Gearing up for a big weekend here at Oaklawn. Literally, his backyard. He's standing by live with Acacia.
That's right, Luffy. But starting off here with In Just My Heels, and Ron, a lot of conversation certainly about the trip with the post. Did her no favors last time out.
Yeah, we, you know, that's one of the things that makes for good wagers and stuff, but frustrates trainers. I hope we get a better trip. I'm going to leave it into Poppy's hands, and hopefully he can ease in, out, whatever he's got to do to get us in a nice, relaxed position.
It seems like she's come a long way as well, that she's really continued to develop as a racehorse.
Yeah, that has a lot to do with the patience of the ownership. They allow me to back up when I want to back up, and they allow me to take her to auxiliary spots to try to get her confidence. And whatever happens with this filly is because of the breeding and the patience.
Of course, tomorrow in the Arkansas Derby, sending out Speed King, was not on the lead last time out. What's the game plan tactically tomorrow?
Just get a better trip. That's, you know, I trust the rider. I think last time you couldn't reproduce all that happened if you tried. So what I would like is for him to go into the gates nice and confident and relaxed, and wherever we break, that's where we are, and try to improve his position from wherever.
And as we've discussed, this is literally your backyard here at Oaklawn Park, and the Arkansas Derby, really kind of the tributary race, if you will, here. What would it mean to win that tomorrow?
Well, I mean, it would be huge. That is one of my goals. That's the reason I wake up every morning, is to eventually win this race. So I want to win that race. Don't get me wrong, I want to win the Kentucky Derby, but there's more to it to me to win this one on the way than it would be to get there by some of the ways the other guys have, but shipping out to go run in an easier spot.
Thanks for the time. Good luck all weekend, Ron.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lafitte?
Amazing how often you do hear that, Richie, from horsemen who call Oaklawn home, that a win in Arkansas Derby would be as meaningful or perhaps even mean more than a win in a Kentucky Derby.
Well, and listen, Ron Mulquette is an Arkansas native, and when you say that he calls Oaklawn home, it legitimately is his home. I mean, you could see his home from our set here in the infield. And listen, he is just a terrific person. I applaud all his successes. He's an easy guy to root for.
Speed King, he says, a better trip tomorrow. What does that mean?
I think he wants him forward. Like you said earlier, I think Cornucopian is the clear-cut speed coming off of that one sprint. You get Johnny Velasquez with an outside post and the way Bob
I don't know.
trains.
I could see Speed King really being hustled and Cornucopian parked right off his flank.
Well, I guess it'll depend on intention, but I do think that if Speed King's not in the lead, at least he'll be forward enough to pick his position and be in the clear. I think last time, it's one thing to say we're going to rate, but then to deal with kickback from multiple horses, traffic, how a young horse handles something that they've never seen before. I do think he'll be forward. If not on the lead, I feel like he'll be stalking.
Give him a shot?
Oh, absolutely. He's a horse with a lot of ability. And you saw him in that stall shot there, enjoying that jolly ball. People don't realize that, they give these horses a lot of things to, keep their attention. They spend a lot of time in the stall after training, and they're high energy.
Crushing that jolly ball. Gearing up for the Arkansas Derby tomorrow afternoon. Speed King. To Maggie, horseback.
Yeah, I got a good look at this field warming up, guys, as let's take a look here at Bestseller. Now, Rudy Brissett decided to scratch Penoir in here in favor of what is a longer shot on the board. They were just impressed with her victory last time out. Now, I thought it was a race where nobody really made up any extra ground, and two, she got up over a 51-1 shot. So she really gets the acid test here. But physically, this filly looks as though, mare looks as though she's doing phenomenally. Heading in to this La Patour. Very fit, good looking, incredibly athletic. So do like what I'm seeing from Bestseller, as we'll also check in with Mercy Warren, who is a filly on paper that doesn't look as though she fits class-wise overall, but she has ticked every box for me. She came in with the utmost confidence and class. She's really nicely on the bridle. She got a big warm-up with Brian Hernandez aboard and just framed herself up beautifully. There's not much to like or recommend necessarily on paper, Lafitte, as she does look to contend with some other speed horses in here, but Joe Sharp, swinging for the fences because he must feel strongly and confident in his 6-year-old mare.
Mercy Warren, Maggie, Brian Hernandez, that Oaks Derby sweep. Last year, really good crowd on hand. The enthusiasm, the excitement before Oaklawn's biggest day, their marquee day of thoroughbred racing tomorrow, the Arkansas Derby. And in moments, the first of 2 stakes races on the Friday program as we send it back to Acacia.
And a good way to kind of kick off that stakes action, Lafitte. But to go back to the 3, Miss Hebrides, I know that she was a horse that was well beaten behind Just In My Heels the last time that they met, but it does seem to me that this is the type of filly who's progressing. She's kind of the one that's on the come, so to speak. I don't like that she has now become the favorite out there, but this is one that I thought, personally, looked so much better once they got the tack on her, and even more so once she got out on the track. She's progressing in the right direction, and I thought incredibly game in her last effort. She'll be my pick in here. Lafitte?
Yeah, Keisha, Miss Hebrides, Kenny McPeak has her going really well right now. Stakes debut, no Lasix today.
Yeah, but, you know, I like In Just My Heels, and she's never won without Lasix as well. So, you know, it's a question mark for several of the runners in here.
Who's in front when the field hits the clubhouse turn?
I think it's the 7, Mercy Warren for Joe Sharp, who just came off of wrapping up that Fairgrounds training title.
And now looking to take down this La Paturelle Stakes post time. Here's Matt Dinneman.
Hatterell Overnight Stakes. Rose Palace wins the start. Mercy Warren away alertly too. Miss Hebrides striding level with them, but now takes back, is on a hold. Miss Hebrides as they approach the first turn run. The Gray Rose Palace is a narrow lead here on Mercy Warren, who's kept on the outside, but will tuck over and track from second. Miss Hebrides third. Not a great deal of pace in the early stages. In Just My Heels makes her way into fourth, but she's between horses now on the inside bestseller in a little bit of a tight spot. She's either got to get out or she's got to go through, and she's going to stay inside. In fifth, approaching the backstretch run. Tripolina right behind her now. Gap of 2.5 to Beaudraw at the back. They're down the backstretch. Miss Hebrides takes her jockey, Julian Leperoux, to the lead, and it's Miss Hebrides 3/4 of a length ahead. Rose Palace delegates the track from second. Not a fast pace at all here as Miss Hebrides continues to do the honors on the lead. Mercy Warren third, niggled along now, 2 off the pace. In Just My Heels has been racing between horses throughout. She's fourth with Bestseller as they corner into the far turn. Tripolina has 1 runner beat still. That's Beaudraw as they round the far turn. Miss Hebrides rounding the turn, 3/4 of a length ahead. Mercy Warren a clear second in the 3 path. Rose Palace alongside of her. In Just My Yield, she's come under a hard ride by Bejarano, joined by Beaudraw, who tries to kick it in from the rail. Tripolina is going to be caught deep. She's 5 wide coming off the turn. Mercy Warren has given way. She's done. Miss Hebrides on the lead here. In Just My Heels still trying. Rose Palace running a huge one between horses now. Miss Hebrides needs to find more. Rose Palace has hit the lead, and it's Rose Palace with a 16th to go. A length and a half in front. In Just My Heels second. Coming to the finish, Rose Palace. Francisco Arrieta. What a claim by Tammy Hornsby. It's Rose Palace and the La Paturelle Overnight. In Just My Heels second. Miss Hebrides third. Beaudraw fourth.
Not difficult to spot on the racetrack, and won't be difficult to spot in the winner's circle. Wow. Rose Palace, what a claim indeed. 21-1 shock in the La Paturelle at Oaklawn.
Yeah, massive upset here by Palace. New York, a multiple stakes winner. She showed good speed, was replaced on the lead by Miss Hebrides down the backstretch, but stayed at it resolutely. I have been so impressed with Francisco Arrieta as a rider here.
Why?
Consistently putting his horses in position to win. Very rarely do you see him out of position, and very consistent about it. This was a big effort and a massive upset.
Wrong lead. You know how it goes. Right result. The salute, Francisco Arrieta. How much sweeter is that when it's winning the stakes race is one thing, but doing so on a horse that's going to pay $45? How much sweeter is that for a rider?
Oh, it's so sweet. Listen, you go in without any pressure, right? The expectation isn't quite as high. So it gives you the freedom to ride a race that maybe if there was more expectation, you wouldn't. Maybe he would have felt more inclined to continue to go forward when Miss Hebrides challenged from the inside. But he gave her a breather, and he got it done.
8th lifetime win. Otis Grimes, Rose Palace, trained by Tammy Hornsby. What a claim. With Maggie.
With a jubilant Francisco Arrieta pulling off the upset today with Rose Palace. Francisco, talk a little bit about your trip and the confidence. First off, the claim on a mare you've never sat on before.
I got to give a big shout to Tommy that put her in the state out of the claim, you know. They did a great job with the filly. She gave me a free wheel, you know. She said, do your job, try to give her easiest trip. She jumped actually very quick. I didn't want to be there. I relaxed her, and she sat a little bit. when I asked her in the 3 she started going, and she keep going to the wire.
Francisco, year after year here at Oaklawn, we see you have success. Now it's a little bit of a full circle moment, as I remember you several years ago trying to make your way at Belmont and Aqueduct. Talk a little bit about this journey you've been on and the success that you're attaining now.
I gotta give the honor and glory to God. You know, He's been helping me along the way. You know, a lot of people helped me too, you know, trainers and owners. You know, without them, I couldn't get where I am, you know. Thanks to everybody to help me.
Much deserved success. Congratulations here.
Thank you very much.
Rose Palace, what a claim by Tammy Hornsby, guys.
Yeah, claiming off of trainer Steve Asmussen, Tammy Hornsby, Rose Palace, now a stakes winner. And for Francisco Arrieta, man of faith, so appreciative of the moment and what, yeah, we're getting accustomed to seeing it meet after meet at Oaklawn, him piling up impressive numbers.
And his consistency is what really strikes me. He's a top rider. Feel like he can compete on any circuit he chooses to go to, and his approach never wavers. You could see it doesn't matter if they're 20-1, as Rose Palace was, or they're 8-5. His approach and his preparation is meticulous.
All worked out beautifully for Rose Palace. Miss Hebrides' third place finish, really aggressive in the middle stages of the race.
Yeah, the rail was open, and she kind of took Julian Lebrun. He didn't send her in there. That was her doing.
6'4", 3'8", Rose Palace in an upset in the La Paturelle Stakes. Tammy Hornsby, Otis Grimes Jr. winning owner, Francisco Arrieta, Rose Palace. Results. More reaction as our coverage continues from Oaklawn here in Hot Springs.
The champion 2-year-old. One of 4 champion 2-year-olds in his immediate family. Essential quality at 2. Undefeated.
Essential quality, though, has opened up by 5.
Devastating. His own first 2-year-olds race in 2025. If they're anything like him and you've got a mare in foal, just imagine.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
Bucaro, any day.
Book 'em, Dano. Prince of Monaco in between. It's going to get very close. Book 'em, Dano.
Any track.
결승선 끝까지 사전 사승. 최고의 꿈, 최고의 꿈, 최고의 꿈.
Any surface.
Queen Maxima starts to extend that beautiful stride of hers, though, and it's lights out. None of the others will come close to Queen Maxima.
Bucaro, a leading sire of stakes winners on every surface from coast to coast and around the globe. Standing in New York at Iron Horse Stallions.
Selling the best. Fasig-Tipton graduates won more Eclipse Awards in 2024 than any other sale company. Torpedo Anna, Moira, National Treasure, Sierra Leone, Soul of an Angel, Straight No Chaser, Fasig-Tipton, eclipsing the competition.
Sign of things to come this weekend, perhaps upset Rose Palace entering the winner's circle. Fasig-Tipton, winner's circle lead, and brought to you by the Fasig-Tipton April digital sale on digital.fasig-tipton.com. Bidding opens this Thursday and closes Tuesday, April 8th. Rose Palace, you heard from Francisco Arrieta. Now, hear from her trainer and the story about that claim. Tammy Hornsby, live with Acacia.
That's right, Lippy. Tammy, what a claim indeed. What was it that caught your eye about this horse?
She just looked like a very competitive, classy horse. And in fact, the owner picked her out, and then very proud of him. We got lucky and got the shake, and she was nominated, and we went for it.
And how does it feel seeing that it played out like that? Because she was always traveling well in the stretch.
just thank the Lord. She just ran an amazing race, and we're very proud of her. We're hoping she would like the distance, and she proved it today. She does.
She certainly did, and had a great trip as well. Has to give you a little bit of extra confidence when you can get Francisco Arrieta up too.
Confidence in the world. You just let him do his thing. He's amazing.
Well done to your whole team. Congratulations.
Thank you. We're very, very blessed and very, very thankful.
As you should be. Congratulations. Quite a celebration here, and rightfully so, Lafitte.
And nothing fluky about it, Richie.
No, she got position. She settled just off of Miss Hebrides, kicked on again, and had more than enough left to hold off in just my heels. And I think this is a perfect example. Obviously, Tammy Hornsby, very capable horsewoman. But this mare has gone through a lot of very good barns. So when I say it's not an indictment of former connections, I think it's a perfect example. Tammy just hit on something, that maybe agreed with this mare, something a little bit different in the training, a little bit different in the feed program. You just never know what key could be turned when they get in a new barn.
Yeah, I mean, she's first or second in 13 of 24 overall. But today, facing that kind of competition and putting forth that effort and winning the first of the two stakes races this afternoon, the La Paturelle at a big price, 21-1. Should shake things up in the cross-country pick 5. It started off chalky enough, didn't wind up that way with damage at Aqueduct, $29, and Rose Palace, $44.20.
Wow, 50-cent payout, $33,690.
That'll work.
Man, if you had it, great handicapping, and congratulations. That's not going to happen going to a ball game, is it?
33,000 plus cross-country pick 5. Couple of upsets to wind out the 5-race sequence. We turn the page. Good race. Maidens, 3-year-olds and older, mile and a 16th. Scratch number 11, Pencil Bluff. Lambeau, 2-1 favorite. 17 minutes out is Steve Asmussen told Maggie earlier, no excuses today. We'll see. What about tomorrow? And the Arkansas Derby favorite in Cornucopia for trainer Bob Baffert. Baffert seeking a 6th win, would become the all-time leader in Arkansas Derby history, and trying to do so with a colt, again, just his 2nd career start. There he is, Cornucopia. What will he do in just his 2nd start against these top-class 3-year-olds, the favorite in tomorrow's $1.5 million Arkansas Derby?
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 7 millionaires. With over 10% stakes performers, his recent top runners include Tarabi, placed in the Grade 1 Spinaway and Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, Grade 2 winner Plum Ali, plus these standout performers. A proven value sire, First Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on our Friday coverage, you're watching America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. We got briefly up here a three-person set with our card wrapped up to talk about the big weekend ahead. Paulie joining us up here in studio to talk about our ABR race of the week in this 100-point prep for the Derby and the Arkansas Derby.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Paulie, but I find it's one of these races where I don't really have a great betting opinion. I think that in all likelihood, Cornucopia is going to be closer to even money or 4 to 5. Won't be surprised when he wins. I could never bet him at a short price, but I don't really have a strong opinion outside of him either.
I'm kind of with you, because when you look at this race, okay, you have Cole Battle in here, the hardened sort of horse that wins races, Sandman, who kind of causes his own troubles. We've seen the rest of these. And then we have a horse coming in for Bob Baffert that's run 101 Buyer Cornucopian, and it's like, can this horse beat this field? I would not be surprised, but I can't. First time against winners, this is a tough ask.
And Bob Baffert has solid numbers with debut winners coming back, stretching out in stakes, 3-year-olds. The problem is the ROI is under $2 because, like Cornucopian, they're all going to be overbet. And I have no doubt that he, based on his debut, is an extraordinarily talented horse, but whether or not he go for 6 furlongs to a mile and 8 and win, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm just going to keep rooting for Cole Battle. He's such a cool horse and a cool story.
He's been probably the best story on the road to this year's Triple Crown and that first Saturday in May, but this horse right here, maybe the most interesting and most talented we have seen on the trail. That is, as you guys say, it's a huge ask. 6 furlongs in the debut, going to 2 turns in a mile and an 1/8 in a grade 1. This late stage of the game, trying to get to the Derby.
Yeah, and while from a speed figure standpoint, he already ran faster than the others.
Yeah,
that was at 6 furlongs, and this is at a mile and an 1/8. And these horses are not great gambles. Though for me, I kind of hope he wins big, and he ends up as one of the favorites in the Derby, and then I can really bet against him.
Yeah, right. I mean, he'll probably end up being your favorite. That's going to be very interesting.
Be a strong favorite here.
And, when you go back to the last race, the one thing you can take away from it is there were so many questions, whether Sandman, whether Speed King could rate, all this other thing. There was not a question on Cole Battle. He won the race. Is that going to be the same thing this time?
Well, it just depends how fast the winner runs, because he hasn't shown to be quite as fast as him, but that doesn't mean he won't be fast enough to beat him with the experience. An interesting race and this is a real David and Goliath, because you've got the big owners with the 9 putting all their chips together to buy these horses against a much smaller stable. It's a good story.
Yeah, from a sire that stands for $2,000. Baffert horses sold for over $1 million. Yeah, they're right next door to each other, as Andy said, in the starting gate. Part 2 of the tremendous story of the 20-year anniversary of the great of Fleet Alex. His Rebel was a flop, but he bounced back big in the Arkansas Derby. Stay with us.
At the Keeneland September yearling sale, the premier thoroughbred auction venue in the world, Mandy Pope of Whisper Hill Farm signed the ticket on the $5 million sale topper by Curlin, bred by Stone Street Thoroughbred Holdings. He was one of $5 million plus yearlings by Curlin to sell. No fewer than 55 of his yearlings fell to the auction gavel, averaging nearly $600,000, making Curlin the #1 sire of yearlings in 2024. Curlin, the classic sire.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
For over 150 years, the Kentucky Derby has stood as the most enduring tradition in American sports. And in our time, one stallion is reshaping its legacy. Back-to-back Derby winners. His first son at stud siring another. A dynasty in motion. A motion that again has forward momentum toward Louisville, with another elite crop of 3-year-olds bearing his genes. Spendthrift Farm, home of Into Mischief.
welcome back. You're watching America's Day at the Races. As always, brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm, 100 years in the usual, unusually well. Gorgeous scenics from Claiborne Farm. Meantime, here at Oaklawn with the Arkansas Derby tomorrow afternoon, along with looking ahead to the impact this race could have on the Kentucky Derby. It also brings up the memories of some of the most impressive, some of the most special winners of this particular event. For example, has it really been 20 years? 20 years since a Fleet Alex's champion 3-year-old campaign, a Preakness winner, a Belmont Stakes winner, an Arkansas Derby winner. For those closest to a Fleet Alex, the ride of a lifetime and one of the most memorable moments that took place right here at Oaklawn 2 decades ago.
After the Rebel, we had to regroup because Fleet Alex did have a lung infection. When we came into the Arkansas Derby, a lot of sports writers had already written the Fleet Alex off.
This is a playoff game. May 7th is the Super Bowl for 3-year-olds, so.
My clients were still shopping to find another rider. So I told Mr. Zachney, I said, look, it's just fate. I said, you know, he knows this horse. He's been on him in the mornings. He's been on him in the afternoons. You know, he has complete faith in a Fleet Alex. And that's something that I really want at this time.
Tim and I both knew the horse could go long. He just finished in the Breeders' Cup second. Everybody jumped off the bandwagon. I'm sitting there going, he just went 2 turns against the best 2-year-olds we have to offer. What else do you need? I mean, there was one horse out there, was Bellamy Road. And that's the one that was up in New York, and he was winning by, I mean, pulls. One thing about Alex, he was battle tested. He went to the Breeders' Cup, Sanford, hopeful. So I had all the faith in him. I had no, as long as he came in with healthy lungs, I figured it was our race to lose.
And they're off in the Arkansas Derby.
He broke good, set in a good spot.
He ran a tremendous race. He took him back early, let him settle, sit behind horses, split horses.
Let's go, Charlie. Inside, buddy. Inside. I was in front of a TV monitor, Joe and Joe had his kids with him watching the races. We're yelling and screaming, let's go Alex, let's go Alex.
And moving up on the outside, there goes a Fleet Alex.
When he asked him to run it at the head of the lane, he was just gone.
I've always had faith in Alex.
Here they come into the stretch of the 69th Arkansas Derby with a Fleet Alex showing the way. Come on, but a Fleet Alex has kicked it into gear. One of the most impressive Arkansas Derby wins ever. A Fleet Alex blowing the field away. He'll win this one by a good 8 lengths.
All of a sudden we get to the finish line, we're going to the Derby, we're going to the Derby.
After Alex won the Arkansas Derby in the fashion he won it and proved beyond the shadow of a doubt, which I had no doubt and Jeremy had no doubt that he could go a distance of ground, told the owners that's where we're going, we're headed to Kentucky.
We were a brand new syndicate and we were green as grass. I'm not going to lie about that.
I'd always said I would never run in those races just to run in them. I would have to have a horse that I thought could win it.
Yeah, he had that lung infection, coughed up the Rebel, the real Fleet Alex showing up in the Arkansas Derby, going to Kentucky with all that momentum. And many that still argue should have been a Triple Crown winner back in 2005.
I'm one of those people in that camp. I firmly believe he should have been a Triple Crown winner. He beat Flower Alley by 8 lengths in the Arkansas Derby.
I forgot he ran
Travers
second.
winner, Breeders' Cup Classic winner. And Jeremy rode him out. He rode him hard through the wire. But he was replaced in the Rebel Stakes, right? So for a jockey, that kind of ebbs your confidence a bit. And you feel like you've got to win at all costs. And instead of maybe winning by 3 or 4 lengths, saving a little something in the tank, he rode him through the wire. And I think it starched him a little bit for the Kentucky Derby. And then what he did in the Preakness, he fell down, got up. His Belmont was almost just as impressive in some ways. The way he just kind of galloped through the field and the confidence and the brilliant ride that Jeremy put on that day. Just feel like if you leave a rider on and there's continuity, it breeds that confidence that a team develops.
The display of athleticism at the top of the stretch, when I think it was Scrappy T.
Yep.
Left-hand crop. He bolts, crashing into a Fleet Alex. How he picked himself up, how he didn't fall. and then to regain his balance and to accelerate and blow those 3-year-olds away.
If he just kept his feet, you would have been impressed.
That alone.
He kept his
That
feet,
alone.
and then he accelerated again. Incredible performance.
20 years. Meantime, for these maidens, graduation day. In 3 minutes, we'll find out. 9th race. Francisco Arrieta checked that. Ramon Vasquez into thin air. Then Lambo pictured the favorite.
So game last time. Was in between horses, battling throughout. Fast fractions. Should be very tough.
Richie's namesake. Ripped.
No, not exactly, but ripped. Two-back race was very good.
Sol Lute, bet in both races.
Bet in both races. Started his career going long and continues on that vein.
Ambition, second at 2 for the Asmussens.
Yeah, and a horse that's been kind of steadily closing ground was beat by his uncoupled stablemate.
Money Game, Gary and Mary West debuting homebred.
Yeah, Grand Am is a grade 1 place. Milwaukee Appeal, tough to debut going that far, though.
Alpha Omega, dirt debut.
Yeah, for a horse that's either on turf or synthetic, but Twirling Candy gets runners on all surfaces.
Can't Stop Willis. Willis Horton's Eclipse Award acceptance speech. Legendary.
That was a legendary speech. Absolutely.
Le Bombo, a tough luck gelding.
Yeah, he got the setup last time. Got a lot of speed and closed well. Gets the far outside post for Tyler Bacon.
House Horse, Grand Oracle, owned by Louis Sella.
Yeah, by McKinsey, who's been very good at getting horses to be able to stay distances of ground. Le Bombo, not the far outside. Excuse me, Grand Oracle, the far outside.
Good race, competitive race. To Acacia, standing by live with Kenny McPeak.
Who sends out the number 5 Sol Lute in here. Kenny, a horse that I thought actually did have a bit of a sneaky trip last time. What is he showing you stepping up from those restricted maiden races?
Well, he's a typical midnight Lute. You know, they're big, raw type horses. But this horse is going to be a pace horse. He's going to need to get in rhythm. And, you know, he's going to need pace in front of him for them to back up to him a little bit. And you look, he's an outside chance here, but I think he deserved an opportunity.
And some news you just told me about tomorrow in the fantasy. Unfortunately, Take Charge Milady will be scratching out. Can you give us a bit of an update on her?
Well, she has a quarter crack that needed some attention, and we wanted to do that before this race. And unfortunately, the timing is kind of off a little bit. We're going to regroup and bring her back in the Ashland next week. We can enter back. It gives us an extra week to handle the patch. She had a little patch put on there. It's very minor for the most part. Actually, if you follow me on Twitter, I'll probably send some pictures of it out there so people can see what exactly we dealt with, and a good job that Christian, our blacksmith, did with it.
Very much appreciate the transparency and giving that insight, but wanted to check in on 2 of the stars of your barn, Torpedo Anna and Mystic Dan, potentially switching up a little bit with the timing with their workouts this weekend. Can you give us what the game plan might be?
I'm glad you asked. Nobody ever asks about those horses. I don't know why that is. But anyway, so we are going to try to breeze. We've been asked by Oaklawn to work out between races, which would be really nice. We'd get a fresh, quiet racetrack. We're going to try to do Mystic Dan in the 4th race tomorrow and Torpedo Anna in the 5th. It's going to depend on the racetrack. I don't really want to work over a sloppy racetrack. I'd rather it be dry. If it's wet, then we'll probably push till Sunday or Monday, depending on the weather. But you know, both horses are doing really well. We're easing Mystic Dan back into things. I may have been too ambitious with him earlier in the season, and we're going to backtrack a little bit and try to get him back on form. He's done well here, and of course the big mare's the big mare. She's a machine, and we're excited about the Apple Blossom.
We're very excited as well. Thanks for all the insight, Kenny. Best of luck.
Thank you.
We'll head out trackside on horseback to Maggie. Maggie, what are you seeing?
Horses making their way to the gate here for this 9th race, an intriguing maiden, as we'll start with your favorite. That is Lambo. Now, last time prior to going in the starting stalls, he got himself quite revved up on track, but physically he looks like a horse that wants long, as we heard from Steve Asmussen earlier, stating that the pedigree suggests that as well. He was a little bit more quiet in the paddock today, but still fairly revved up here on the racetrack. Now, we do have some first-time starters, as we see the one acting up, but I do want to talk about number 2, Into Thin Air. As Lambo has speed, Into Thin Air beneath Ramon Vasquez got a really aggressive warm-up as he stretches back out in distance. Now, I don't think he necessarily wants this far, but he might provide some problems for your favorite. As number 12, Grand Oracle, I love this horse stretching out in distance. He looks as though he should relish it. As we'll also take a look at number 7. That's a first-time starter, Money Game from the Brad Cox barn. There is a little bit of of pedigree, as the dam's a fool to multiple graded stakes winner Actress, and definitely looks like he wants to run long. A bit green, though. In fact, he walked up behind me and gave me a little nicker to my pony, so maybe mine's not totally on business. Lafitte?
As they continue to file in. Good race, competitive race. Maidens, mile and a 16th. Matt Dinnerman with the call. Post time, the 9th on the eve of the Arkansas Derby, live from Oaklawn on Fox Sports 2.
Post Grand Oracle to round out the field. Here's Grand Oracle coming up. We're ready to go. And we're off. Good start for pretty much all. Money Game bobbled just a little bit coming out of there. Battle for the lead early. Ripped is there with Lambo, who has the most speed from the inside. A five-way battle as they go into the first turn run. Lambo is the leader here from Ripped and Alpha Omega, who's three deep, easing off that pair. Grand Oracle from the far outside post, getting to the rail now. He's racing alone. 5 lengths off the pace, approaching the backstretch. Can't Stop Willis is 2 lengths off of him, then comes into thin air. He's inside of Ambition in the gray Labambo. Super Cruise, the first-time starter, third last. Solute, second to last. And Money Game is last, and he's running at least 15 lengths behind a strung-out group led by Lambo. Lambo cruising on the lead, it appears. A length and a tail ahead. Ripped tracking right behind him. 2.5 back to Alpha Omega in third. Grand Oracle settled down on the fence. Can't Stop Willis is next. Labambo and Ambition continue to run together. Super Cruise is going to be parked deep, but he's mounting a rally as they round the far turn. Super Cruise is 5 wide, making a move as they round the far turn. There goes Super Cruise from midfield, and the first-time starter, Super Cruise. Look at this move. Super Cruise from 8th, and he's taken the lead around the far turn. Lambo a length and a half behind in second, so it's Jaime Torres and Super Cruise. Let's see if he can keep going here. Super Cruise at the top of the lane, a length and a half in front. Money Game is second. Ripped is third and struggling a bit. They're down the stretch here. The 2 first-time starters are going at it now, and Money Game and the Gary and Wary Mess Pink have taken the lead here from Super Cruise, who tries to fight back from the inside. Money Game 16th to go in front. Super Cruise coming back at him from the inside. Money Game, though, he's got a narrow lead, and Money Game gets it. Money Game over Super Cruise. They were 5 clear of Solute and Can't Stop Willis, who was 4th.
What a horse race. Couple of first-time starters throwing it down. Super Cruise inside Money Game, outside Money Game, putting away a tenacious Super Cruise. Not a bad first day on the job for either, Richie.
Now, and Super Cruise made this wild middle move. I thought he was doing his Arazi imitation in the Breeders' Cup. He circled the entire field around the far turn, hit the front.
What happens here?
He just got very green.
He hit the rail?
He jumped to his left lead and got up close to the rail and kind of checked himself. I don't know if it was that he spotted that horse outside the line of his blinker cup, but so hard to get a first-time starter ready to run this far, and these two dominated. Pretty crazy step there that he took, huh?
Okay, all the credit in the world to the Gary and Mary West Homebred Money Game, but Super Cruise with a lot, once he figures out what it is to be a professional racehorse, wow. 7-1, 5-9, 7-1, over 16-1, over 8-1, over 17-1 in this 9th at Oaklawn.
And listen, I absolutely a lot of credit to the winner, Money Game. Terrific ride by Christian Torres, but really Super Cruise to make that early, premature, aggressive move under Jaime Torres. He was best.
A name to remember, along with Money Game, trained by Brad Cox, leading rider Christian Torres, live with Maggie.
Wow, Christian, wasn't really expecting that, as he was a little bit green in the post race. I got a little love nicker to my pony Boomer here, but he put it all together within the race.
Yeah, I've been working him in the mornings, and the first time I worked him, it was without blinkers, and I could feel he was just looking around a lot. He wasn't fully doing it, how he's supposed to. So Georgie and I talking to put some blinkers on it, and then we kept working him with blinkers, and he was a different horse. So he's just a happy, horse. He loved to play around, and but we had high expectation on him, and he proved it today.
He really did. A beautiful horse, but you're going to be on another big, good-looking horse in the next, at Temperance Hill. You'll be aboard last year's winner, Mask Parade. Rob Atras told me a couple weeks ago he was so excited to stretch this horse back out.
Yeah, that horse, he likes to run, you know, he likes the distance. So hopefully we get a fair trip. And it seems the track is playing fair for everyone. So, you know, very excited about the next one.
Well, keep up the great work. Meets leading rider for a reason. Well done.
Thank you.
All right, Christian Torres, guys, well, at least he had familiarity with this horse in the mornings, which paid off in the afternoon.
Christian Torres with the victory here, live runner in the Temperance Hill, and part of the life of being a you know Torres would have loved to have ridden Sandman. Things hadn't worked out for Sandman of late, some bad luck, and now Torres replaced by Jose Ortiz. It has happened to the best of them.
Throughout time in racing, this is a common theme. What's a bit uncommon is Christian Torres actually worked Sandman after he knew he was replaced.
Team player.
And you know what? That ingratiates yourself with people. They see you have a good attitude. And again, Jose Ortiz has a long-standing relationship with the owners of Sandman, West Point Thoroughbreds. He rides for them a lot on the East Coast. So you have to kind of take it in stride, and I think he's making all the right moves.
How
Christian.
easy it would have been to say, you work him. I'm not riding him in the afternoon. Get somebody else to work him.
Probably what I would have done.
Class act. Christian Torres, leading rider, and another trip to the Oaklawn Winner's Circle. When we come back, Arkansas Derby, not the only Derby prep tomorrow afternoon. Florida Derby from Gulfstream Park, Sovereignty. Fountain of Youth winner, the one to beat in the Florida Derby. And a rider switch here. This one, however, not planned as a result of injury. Manny Franco takes over.
Olympiad leads American Revolution. Olympiad gets the gold in the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
Back with you on our Friday coverage. You're watching America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by Gainesway Power. Passion, performance. First-time starter, in fact, two first-time starters, duking it out down the stretch. in this 9th at Oaklawn, and it's money game who comes up victorious. Brad Cox Barn, 3-year-old son of Candy Ride, debuting, winning in a mile, a 16th, first time out with Christian Torres aboard.
I tell you what, if you had a tip on the second horse or you bet the second horse, Paulie, I think you're allowed to still be crying.
These two colts were just much the best as they separated themselves from the 5 here. Soul Loop, a money game. Like you said, a son of Candy Ride of the Tablet Bear. Miss Bling Bling, 1760 on top. If you had that pick 5, that's not bad, $509.80.
Stakes race up next at a mile and a half. $200,000 purse. 4-year-olds and up in this Temperance Hill. And the favorite early on, Time for Trouble, taking considerable money right now. Mask Parade, talked about on the top of the show for Rob Atras, taking support as well. Confidence Game coming back, who ran in the Kentucky Derby back in 2023. Upcoming road to the Derby. Well, we all know what's happening in Hot Springs tomorrow, the big one, 100-point race. That Arkansas Derby, Florida Derby, though, happening as well. With everyone talks about the big name out there in journalism, but Sovereignty, pretty exciting too, what he did coming back in his 3-year-old debut.
Yeah, he's a talented one, and unfortunately he draws another lousy post here, and I feel bad for the 8, 9, and 10 as they're sort of out there because they sort of hustle some horses that aren't competitive to run in the race. Manny Franco heading down. Unfortunately, Junior Alvarado got hurt. This is a good horse, Paulie. We'll see how he does in this race, but I think he still has to be considered a Derby contender, especially because there should be a lot of speed for him.
No, I think so. And listen, he looked dead in the water at the top of the lane, but you can physically see how big his stride is. I mean, and now, Bill Mott had said before that race he wasn't really cranked up to win that, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. I think he's very talented.
That first turn comes up so quick at a mile and an eighth at Gulfstream. He's
like,
all the way outside.
I like all the outside horses, the 8, 9, and 10 in this race. I'll probably bet Japan Street, but Sovereignty's the horse to beat. I think he's good.
Meanwhile, Bob Baffert is going to make an equipment change on Madaket Road, who was the runner-up in the Rebel to Cole battle back on February 23rd.
I think people are making a mistake that are saying, well, speed was really good at Oaklawn. That's why he ran so well. Horses that chased him, I don't even know if they've finished yet in this race, Paulie. This horse ran very well given that crazy pace.
And I think he showed a little bit fight. I mean, Cole Battle went by him, and he didn't give up at all. He went right at his hip the whole way down the lane, and well clear of Sandman. And, Bob Baffert's got a thing of doing this where he brings one horse at one track, and he's going to take him over to Florida, see how good he is. And then he's got Money Mike Smith. The last time he's been on a horse for Bob Baffert's been a minute too. So we'll see what happens. I don't think he's going to send with Mike. We'll see.
Of course, Tyler Gaffalione was supposed to ride and unfortunately broke his ankle, and we wish him well and hope he gets back soon. A couple of tough injuries, especially in general, but also affecting this race.
Very interesting race. This is one of certainly the key players right now off that comeback race of what Sovereignty did, but a couple of these horses, certainly Tapan Street you mentioned, Madaket Road, a couple other names in there as well, Disruptor, very interesting.
The problem with Disruptor, he's obviously talented, is they're rushing him in off a maiden win, and he's got speed on the inside. He's got Madaket Road outside of him. I don't see a trip that works out for him in this race, and I think he'll be overbet because of the big figure. I think he's talented, but this is a big ask for him as well as Cornucopia, and it's probably a bigger ask for him.
I think Bob Baffert's trying to go, let's see if I can run well in the Florida Derby, run well in the Arkansas Derby. Then I got Barnes in the Santa Anita Derby. I'm pretty well lined up. I mean, I think that's the approach he's kind of taken.
In Santa Anita
and I think Cornucopia drawing the complete outside is a benefit for horses making career second start. That's just my opinion.
He could be pretty well represented that first Saturday in May.
He's a pretty good trainer.
Yes, he is.
Well,
we're going to take a time out. The three of us, we're done for the afternoon. A lot more coming up, including this Temperance Hill, the feature on the Friday card here at this marathon distance of a mile and a half. 19 minutes to post in this $200,000 stake. Mask Parade, Rob Atras, Christian Torres just missed in his comeback as a 7-year-old. See if he can get the win over Game Warden today.
This is my Oaklawn.
General admission tickets are on sale now for the Belmont Stakes on June 7th at Saratoga Racecourse. Don't miss your chance to witness the historical third leg of the Triple Crown. Get your tickets today by visiting belmontstakes.com/tickets.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
These New York bred foals represent many sires. War Dancer, Salamini, Honest Mischief, Central Banker. But they all have one thing in common. Starting in 2026, they'll be running for the same purse money as Open Company 2-year-olds at NYRA tracks. That's nearly 20% more than they run for now. Learn more about it at nybreds.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Welcome back. You're watching America's Day at the Races. Getting vertigo going through the hall and the elevator and downstairs through the food pavilion, the casino, and eventually into the paddock here at Oaklawn Park. This gorgeous hotel, as always. Our coverage brought to you in part by NYRA Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Sign up today. Download the NYRA Bets app to get started. NYRABets.com. And in that paddock, where the horses will be coming up shortly for the co-feature this afternoon, tomorrow's main event. Oaklawn's main event tomorrow afternoon, dating back to 1936, the Arkansas Derby. So who was fastest? The filly, trained by Dwayne Lucas, whistling that mile and an eighth in 146.80. Most wins by a trainer. You might have heard of those names. Todd Pletcher, Bob Baffert. Baffert looking to become the all-time Arkansas Derby winning trainer tomorrow. Horses to have captured the Arkansas Derby and Kentucky Derby. 3, American Pharoah most recent. 7 have won the Arkansas Derby and gone on to Preakness Glory. Big Red, modern day Big Red there, curling back in 07. Arkansas Derby winners to have won the Belmont Stakes. Creator, easy win in the Arkansas Derby by a nose in the Belmont Stakes. And Arkansas Derby winners to capture the Triple Crown. Ears up, American Pharoah. And tomorrow, the 89th edition of the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby. Richie, look at those stats, the numbers, the impact this race has had on the run for the Roses, and specifically of recent, in the last couple decades or so, just what a productive path this race has been to the first Saturday in May at Churchill Downs.
I think it's a product of the comprehensive series of races they have leading up to the Arkansas Derby and obviously leading up to the Kentucky Derby. You know, starting out early January, you go Smarty Jones to the Southwest, the Rebel, on to the Arkansas Derby. And I like the way it's kind of a step forward each time in purse, in distance, the mile and an eighth now. They've really done an incredible job. And Oaklawn's done that with pretty much every category, whether it's for 3-year-old fillies or 3-year-old colts, older horses, sprinters. They just have that series race that you can kind of plan around and plot your strategy getting to them. Yeah, last year the Derby winner, Oaks winner, both emerging from the same venue. Fantasy Arkansas Derby, that's the first time in 15 years both the Derby winner and Oaks winner prepped at the same venue. Tomorrow, America's Best Racing Race of the Week. 3-year-olds, mile and an eighth, $1.5 million purse, 200 Derby points available, 100 to the winner. Cornucopian is the favorite. Speed King has a little more experience. 15-1 on the morning line, 13-1 wire to wire spoiler in the Southwest Stakes. Loyalty and trust between an owner and trainer is paramount for success in this sport. Case in point, Team Speed King, owned by Ted Bowman, trained by Ron Moquette. They met 19 years ago. They've worked together ever since, and that loyalty at the nucleus of their success in horse racing.
I was coming to the races one day, and I was riding with a friend of mine. I had my racing form, the old big ones, had it out, and I'm going, you know, if I was ever going to claim a horse, this would be the one. It was a $5,000 claimer. I said, okay. Well, we got him, because that was actually the first day I met Ron. After that, I've never had another trainer, and that was 19 years ago. I was claiming horses just right and left. Within that time, Ron brought a package of horses to me. 5.5 weeks later, we won the Stephen Foster. That was a great experience. Didn't know any better. Christy and I didn't even take any family with us. I'd met Lucas, and he come up to me in the stakes room and said, I've been looking at the race. You don't look bad in here. I'm saying 15, 20 to 1. And then, of course, by the time the gates opened, we were 91 to 1.
Had a big gap of about 8 back to Seek Gold.
Luckily, the racing gods give this horse to Mr. Bowman in partnership, and I was able to be a part of something that was huge for my career. And every day I wake up thankful for Seek Gold and what it took to get him in the barn, and Mr. Bowman was one of the things that it took.
Big long shot, Seek Gold, perfect drift. Seek Gold on the outside and perfect drift.
I went by Todd Fletcher and I literally said, I know you're supposed to act like you've been here before, but I never have.
I like the fact that we speak the same language, we're from the same area. You know, he was raised in Arkansas, I was raised on the border of Arkansas, Oklahoma.
And I just love the way his attention to detail, his care for the horses, that was the main thing. And I just really appreciated that work ethic. The relationship for me is huge.
We've got enough differences to keep it fun, but we're very similar and we both root for the same teams, and that sort of helps.
He has told people that I was the best negotiator. He didn't really mean that as a compliment.
I only work for people I like. I don't work for anyone that I don't enjoy being around, and I enjoy being around Ted.
Even when we had some tough times and my winning percentage was way down, I thought, you know, I truly had just soon get out of the business and not get another, I don't want another trainer.
Loyalty is something that doesn't get bragged on enough in our industry, and Mr. Bowman has always been loyal. So any success that he gets in this industry is due.
But it's going to be Speed King all the way.
To win the Arkansas Derby would be a highlight of anything I've done, even more so than the Stephen Foster at Churchill. I know that Ron really wants to win the Arkansas Derby. It'd be incredible.
Brilliant. Friendship, loyalty, live look. Ted Bowman. How much sleep he'll get tonight. No nerves whatsoever, Ted. No nerves with Speed King tomorrow. Yeah, sure, he's won a Stephen Foster at 91 to 1. But tomorrow, the Arkansas Derby, and Speed King, as he said, that would be the highlight of his career.
Two Arkansas boys taking down Arkansas's biggest race. It would be quite a celebration, I'm sure.
We check in with Maggie.
Ted Bowman, so genuine. What you see in that feature is what you get. So wishing him the best of luck, he and Ron, in the Arkansas Derby tomorrow. But as we take a look at this field for the Temperance Hill, 1.5 miles. Now, you tend to look for horses that have at least run at this distance, but there's only one in this field that has won at this distance. Of course, last year's winner, and that's Mask Parade. I've always been a fan of this horse, and Rob Atras and his team really looking forward to getting him back to this type of route of ground. And looking at him, he is a horse that just looks as though he's thriving right now. He's dappled head to toe. He is a horse that I know has struggled with his feet at times. And so last time I saw him, he was wearing those glue-on shoes. Today, it's much the same, but exuding confidence here in the paddock. And I love what I see from the likely post-time favorite, as sometimes you're doing guesswork if they'll handle this type of distance. But a horse that I'm really intrigued to see try it is Confidence Game. Once upon a time, this guy won the Rebel back in 2023, and he's been struggling to find his way. In fact, that was the last time he ever won a race. But he has this way of going that
looks to me like he'll be able to sustain that momentum. You want horses at these distances on the dirt that just gallop all day long. He has the framework to suggest that he should be able to handle it. He's a lot more mentally mature than what I saw from him 2 years ago when he got quite nervous prior to that Rebel. Really nicely settled, but still, has his game face on. So I appreciate that. One at a price that I'm really excited to see try this Temperance Hill. Lafitte?
14-1, confidence game. Maggie, thanks so much. Post parade for this Temperance Hill, the Belmont Stakes winner in the strong Arkansas connection owned by John Ed Anthony.
Yeah, trained by Joe Canty, ridden by Eddie Maple. Those were the colors that I grew up watching racing and dreaming about being a jockey. Temperance Hill, quite a racehorse.
And the race that lives in his honor, 8 minutes out, wide open. Favorite to the outside in Lambeth, 5-2. Key to success for him today.
Well, it is a 3-turn race, and you've got to get to some sort of position and save some ground around at least 2 of those 3 turns. It'll be interesting to see where he is early. See it out wire to wire going this distance.
Ryan Hernandez has a knack for finding a way to maneuver in such situations when dealt a tricky hand in terms of post position.
Such a good rider. One of those riders that other riders knew for years how talented, how good he was. It just took an opportunity on the major stage to show the world what he was.
We'll see him on Lambeth. There's Di Vernon and Ricardo Santana.
Too big a price. Horse ran second to next and actually finished in front of Mask Parade, going the 1.5 mile distance. He's going to appreciate being able to save ground.
Long shots towards the inside. One giant leap, giving Keith Asmussen all he can handle in the post parade.
Doing one giant leap, trying to get up over the other side of the pony. I think Keith had eventually will just tell him, turn me loose, let me have him on my own.
Time for trouble, the 8-year-old 11-time winner.
Yeah, and he has to show. We're hearing something behind us. Actually, Keith Asmussen is off of the 2-1 giant leap, although he's in the hands of the pony boy at the moment.
We had our backs turned, see if we can get an update from Maggie or Acacia. Mass Parade looking to go back-to-back in this Temperance Hill, 4-1. Then a long shot to his outside. Shot took it 38-1.
Yeah, one that would be a bit of a surprise, but we've seen some surprises today.
Game Warden, number 6, 9-2. He's sharp, having won 3 of 5.
Another horse that should be pretty forward. Will he see out the 1.5 mile? Flying Peace Stable's done well with horses being able to get these marathon distances. Jay Provenzano seems to have a good eye to pick those types.
Moen Vasquez looking for a second win in the afternoon. Aforementioned confidence game at 15-1.
Got good marks from Maggie to stay the distance out of Ebuisant, who is the sister to Zenyatta.
Zenyatta. Rockin' Halo, pictured. 3-time winner, Oaklawn debut.
Yeah, has run 1.5 miles, but on the turf. Will that translate to the dirt here?
Red Run, 4th in last year's Temperance Hill.
Yeah, and Ron Moquette having a terrific meeting. He's going to have to improve a bit off of that last year's effort.
Key scratch, morning line favorite. Sir Greyland is out. Lambeth, the 5-2 favorite. Brian Hernandez pictured for Joe Sharp, as you mentioned, coming off that training title at Fairgrounds.
And has the pedigree to stay the distance. By Arrogate out of a Tappet mare, South Bank, that good Juddmonte farm pedigree. I think this is the horse that's going to make the front under Brian Hernandez.
5 minutes out. Temperance Hill here at Oaklawn Park. To Acacia.
And I'm pleased to be joined by trainer Norm Cassie, who sends out 2 here. Norm, let's start with the hot hand, so to speak, Game Warden. He's been in great form, stretching out for the first time to this distance. How do you think he'll handle it?
I think he's going to really appreciate it. He's a horse that doesn't like to be in a lot of traffic. In fact, when he has one, it's because we've been able to get him outside and get more comfortable. He should be able to do that really easily today, and that's why we picked this race, because he should get into a nice rhythm.
And your other horse has experience at the distance in Di Vernon. You and I were kind of laughing, second to next by 11-plus lengths, but certainly highlighted by the company.
Yeah, I mean, when we purchased him out of the sale, the digital sale, this was the race that we had in mind. It's nice when a plan comes together. So we're here. We got him here. Now we'll just see how he performs. It's a wide open race. We gelded him, and it seems like that made a big difference.
I want to ask you quickly about tomorrow in the fantasy, sending out Necessity, taking another crack at Quiet Side. What have you seen from her since her last 4th place finish?
Really, ever since Acacia, since she got down here this winter, she's trained like a really good horse. We've been excited about her all winter. She was kind of up against a track bias the other day in the Honeybee. And we felt like she deserved another chance, and we feel like she's going to run a big race tomorrow.
Forward to seeing her. Good luck here and tomorrow.
Thank you.
Lafitte?
Norm Cassie, Necessity tomorrow in the fantasy race where we watched Torpedo Anna debut last year. The results, in the end, a Horse of the Year campaign. How productive will this year's fantasy be? Only time will tell. Oaklawn's signature event for 3-year-old fillies of fantasy. Meantime, this Temperance Hill. Cassie with Game Warden here. Currently 4-1. Most recent able to defeat Mass Parade, Game Warden. That tactical speed in his arsenal.
But that was going 1 1/8 miles, and you know this is a different ball game. We're going 12 furlongs now. Mass Parade is already accomplished at this distance. Game Warden has to show that he can. Now, Game Warden's a tricky ride.
Yeah, he is.
He's a horse that wants to be outside, but then he wants to lug in and get on top of horses. He's a horse that also is a little bit like a bicycle. If you're not pedaling, he's not riding. Now, I know Ramon Vasquez is very fit, but he better be to ride this horse going 1.5 miles.
That struggle is real.
Absolutely. And I actually was eavesdropping on his conversation over the phone with owner Jay Provenzano last time, and he was explaining just how tricky he was.
Biggest difference, biggest challenge when it comes to these 1.5 mile dirt races for a rider?
Well, the biggest thing is you got to get a horse that doesn't pull or want to do too much. He's got to listen to his rider's cues to stay this distance.
Temperance Hill, in honor of a Belmont Stakes winner. Second stakes race on the afternoon on the eve of this Arkansas Derby. 2 minutes out. We check in with Maggie, horseback.
Yeah, guys, let's talk a little bit about the two whom we saw misbehaving with Keith Asmussen on the racetrack. That is one giant leap. It was almost like he was a volcano. And once he blew and unseated Keith, who kind of landed on his feet, then kind of fell backwards, but he was A-okay, smile on his face and ready to get back aboard. He kind of settled down. The lava was just kind of flowing out. And it's not a great sign, though, when you're trying to go 1.5 miles, to be fair. He's a little bit too effervescent for me here on the racetrack as well. Gorgeous horse, but just not sure mentally if he's ready for this distance. As we'll take a look at the horse taking a lot of attention. That's number 11, Lambeth. He has yet to go this route of ground either, and I can't say I'm overly confident in him getting. I know he's a son of Arrogate, out of a Tappet mare, as you guys mentioned, plenty of pedigree for him to get it, but physically, I've never thought that longer is better for him. He's small and shorter coupled, and furthermore, he's another one that he's settled down now as we're walking towards the gate, but he was a little bit on the muscle as we commenced this warm-up out on the track. As we'll also take a look at number 1, as we just heard from Norm Cassie, and Di Vernon, I thought this is one of the best times I've seen this horse appear. Now, he has experience, at least, going this distance. He's nice and relaxed here on track. He has some cotton in his ears to hopefully, keep him at bay with that. But he looks so strong behind as well. And I think he's a horse that maybe it's time for him to break through at this type of 1.5 miles. Lafitte?
Di Vernon. Maggie likes what she sees. 10-1. Ricardo Santana. Richie, you're expecting to see a successful title defense from Mass Parade.
Well, Mass Parade's run twice on the dirt at this distance, and both efforts were good. He won the first time, and then he ran into Next, who just breathes different air going these distances. So, even though he was well beaten, everybody's well beaten by Next when they go these marathon distances.
Being in Next zip code, like it is, like only getting beat by six lengths. That's when you say that's about as competitive as you could be with Next when he was on top of his game.
Yeah, when he just gets in that rhythm, he gallops horses silly. I mean, he just does not tire. He's a horse that, he would have been a great Pony Express horse. I mean, he just
horses aren't supposed to finish like that in a 1.5 mile race. They're just not.
No, he actually gets stronger with every furlong, and that's unheard of.
No Next in marathoners to deal with this afternoon. Acacia, what about Game Warden here and Ramon Vasquez? Key to success for him today, and what are you noticing pre-race?
Well, I've really liked what I saw from him. I agree with this trainer, Norm Cassie, that he should handle the stretch out. Obviously, it is a bit of a tall ask, but one thing I will say is that Norm has really got this horse going good. He's one that in previous races I've seen get a little bit on his toes and be a bit more revved up. Back in the paddock, at least, he was very calm, very relaxed, which I appreciate. He's held his weight well. He's now second off the layoff. I thought it was a game effort last time out, beating Mask Parade, arguably not at Mask Parade best distance, but I like what I see from Game Warden in here. I have noticed, at least since the last time I saw him, they've switched the bit on him as well, putting him into a cage bit, giving his rider a bit more control as he was lugging in late when closing last time out Lafitte.
Giving, Ramon Vasquez difficulty, though, in a winning effort. Game Warden defeating Mask Parade late February. Tactics, strategy in this 3-turn mile-and-a-half affair. Richie, what are you looking for early on in terms of strategy from the riders in race shape?
Well, I think Lambeth has got to show speed from that outside post with Brian Hernandez. The fly in the ointment is the 2-1 giant leap, and I think Maggie made a great analogy about a volcano. I mean, he was looking to erupt, right? Got that eruption out of the way, but he's a horse that could show high speed at times, and pace is going to make this race. To get a horse to stay a mile-and-a-half, they have to switch off.
Lambeth, 1 giant leap. They've met. Lambeth here, handling giant leap and others in this convincing, authoritative win late February.
So he's already shown that he has an affinity for this race course. How did he run that day? He was attending the pace, and not a slow pace, 23-3, 47-1, and he kept on. Now, again, it's a big difference going 12 furlongs as opposed to 8.5 furlongs, but he's got to be forward.
What is a win? For our viewers watching, what is a win for Lambeth and Brian Hernandez? What would you consider a win entering the first turn?
If he is 2 or 3 wide into that first turn and settled, not overdoing it, not pulling too much, a legitimate pace here at this distance. If they go a sub, 49, that's quick for the distance.
In honor of the Belmont Stakes winner, Temperance Hill, filing into the gate, 1.5 miles with a $200,000 purse. Matt Dinnerman with the call. Post time for the Temperance Hill live on Fox Sports 2.
The outside post. Lambeth and Brian Hernandez Jr. to round out the field in the 2025 Temperance Hill, going 1.5 miles. We're ready to go. And we're off in the Temperance Hill. 1 giant leap gets the first call of the race, aggressively ridden to show speed today. Lambeth from the far outside post, naturally quick as well. Crossing over, it's 1 giant leap with a head lead on Lambeth, who's moving up to come and challenge. Lambeth passing 1 giant leap. Decent tempo in the first quarter mile here for 1.5 miles as Lambeth leads the way, gets to the rail, now gets on a hold, and he's 1.5 lengths clear of Game Warden, who takes second. 1 giant leap third, in a pocket to the inside. Mask Parade, last year's Temperance Hill winner, is fourth on the outside as they come down the stretch for the first time. Time for Trouble, and the purple jacket is next. Divernon behind horses on the rail. Confidence Game on the outside of him. 2 or 3 pass over from Divernon. Another 1.5 lengths to Rockin' a Halo. The 2 at the back, Red Run and Shattuck, as they come by us. 1 lap to go. Remember, this race will end at the 16th pole in 1 lap's time, and Lambeth in a good gallop now leads the way by a length from Game Warden. Time for Trouble in a good groove. He's third between horses going into the turn. Masquerade 3 deep. 1 giant leap has lost a few spots already, is in midfield, joining Divernon and Confidence Game, who's 3 wide. Rockin' a Halo still third last. Red Run and Shattuck trail together as they approach the backstretch run. Lambeth opening up the lead now. He's 2.5 clear Lambeth as he gives something to think about for the others here. Lambeth by 2. Game Warden still tracking, nibbled along just a little bit now in second. Time for Trouble still third on a hold with Mask Parade to the outside. 1.5 lengths to Divernon, 1 giant leap, then Rockin' a Halo and Confidence Game there, even 3 clear of Red Run and Shattuck, who need to pick it up. Both runners encouraged to get going now as they approach the 4-turn run. Lambeth still on the lead by a length. Game Warden second. Lambeth once again opening up the lead to a length and a half now. Game Warden shaken up in second, so is Time for Trouble. Nickel along third on the rail with Mass Parade, who's shaken up a little bit going into the turn. Lambeth at the moment still doing it well. Lambeth rounding the turn, increasing the lead again, and the others have got to get going if they want to catch Lambeth, who still appears to have plenty of horse here coming to the top of the lane. Game Warden under the left-handed encouragement, trying ever so hard to get to Lambeth. Let's see what Lambeth has for the stretch run here, but at the moment he's the one to reel in. Lambeth off the turn. Game Warden the only one with a chance to beat him. Lambeth asked for his best, and he's got something here. Lambeth by 2, hitting the 16th marker, and Game Warden is behind in second. Lambeth, Brian Hernandez Jr. to take him all the way in the Temperance Hill. Game Warden's second best. Time for Trouble was third. Rockin' a Halo checks in fourth, and then Mass Parade, the defending champion, fifth across the finish.
His intentions are very clear. Early on, Brian Hernandez letting him roll for the outside, flashing his speed, angling over, and wiring this field after a mile and a half in the 2025 Temperance Hill.
Brilliant front-running ride by Brian Hernandez, allowed this horse to stride clear, and then he settled on the lead, so it was able to get in a good rhythm, and he kept finding this was a tour de force, and all of Brian Hernandez's ample skills on display.
By Superstar Arrowgate, Carl Moore Management LLC, trained by Joe Sharp, ridden by Brian Hernandez, live with Maggie.
Here with Brian Hernandez, and Lambeth still willing to go around, I think, another turn, Brian. Wow, that was a tour de force.
Yeah, that was nice. You know, he left from the outside post well and put himself in a nice spot on the lead and let him cruise along. And like you said, we got under the wire, and he looks like he was looking for more.
It really was. Guys, Brian, congratulations. I think we have a new name in this marathon division. It's Lambeth.
Brian Hernandez, Lambeth here, wire to wire on the Temperance Hill, and doing something last spring only how many jockeys have done in history? The Oaks and Derby sweep?
I think he was the 9th to do it and the first one in over half a century to do it with the same trainer.
Amazing. We're saying goodbye. Richie, we're all looking forward to the Arkansas Derby, but one aspect, one storyline, one aspect of tomorrow's Arkansas Derby, what are you looking forward to most?
Cole battle. David beats Goliath.
Richie says he runs to the level of his competition. What a story. What a colt, undefeated on dirt. What will he do in the Arkansas Derby? Cornucopia the favorite. We'll see you tomorrow night, Arkansas Derby on Fox Sports 1.